Here we go. Here we go. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it live. We're doing it live. Winners take y'all, man. Welcome back. We had to take a couple of weeks off, right? Because, dirt bikes got in the way, and I say for a positive reason, right?
Yeah, we had bloody hands.
Your hands good?
You can't do a podcast with bloody hands. Man, I was once almost a hand model. In
Almost.
96,
And
it was
that ruined
close.
Well, welcome to Winners Take Y'all. John Watkins, Nick Blackmon, Jake Fricker behind the camera, making it all look, as bearable as you can handle in HD. Like, I'm sorry if you're watching this, you're an idiot.
Yeah, man, that's hard to notice.
Follow us on Instagram, our
beauty.
YouTube channel. We have that going as well. And in the background, you're going to see a bunch of footage from Day in the Dirt. These dudes rode a crap ton of races. Nick got sick, had to bail out, and that doesn't happen very often.
That never happens.
And he's made up for it because he's rode like 13 times in the last 4 days. So he's right back to normal.
Nick never has a shortage of desire to ride a motorcycle.
No.
Ever. He's sitting there going, after Day in the Dirt, I still got issues. Like, blood blisters ripped off, and then raw meat turned to calluses, which ripped off. It was layers and layers of pain, right? And Nick's over here, hey, man, you want to go ride Sunday? I'm like, I've been laying on a couch for like 3 days. Well,
his hands are just seasoned. Like those hand steaks, they're just tough and raw and ready for action. So
all that
Nick's
steak
ready.
Juice.
A lot of slow-mo of Nick back here on the 000. Just we've been staring at Nick getting ready on his 94 CR250? 95 CR250.
Yeah.
God, man, you look way faster in slow-mo, dude. Just stay right there. Whatever that is, just all slow-mo. Never any real-time speed.
I'm going to start.
Look at that bike. It's running. It's firing that damn delicious two-stroke oil out of there.
Caster 927 or whatever's in there.
Hell yeah.
I don't even know. What do you use, Nick? I use 927.
10W40.
Yeah.
Is that like on premix?
Home Depot.
Were you running my gas?
Chain lube works too.
Still. I put still at 40 to 1.
It's a good. I don't know what it is. STIHL.
Did you ever run inboard outboard? Just
only when
I did.
Rare occurrences when I just had to ride. My dad's like, this is stupid. You ain't supposed to put this in here. It needs a motorcycle
Bull crap.
picture on. I know it would run.
It would.
He knew it would run.
It didn't matter for me. I never got the thing up to race temp, so it's like just always just in the always getting broke in. My bikes were always, and I've told the story a million times. Ken, when he'd get on my bike, he'd be like, "Oh my God, your bike rips." I said because it's never been pushed any further down than just sitting on it, and it's never been out of like tight. Third and luggy.
Yeah.
Like everything.
And after all the crap you've said about Nick on the podium about
I'm terrible.
Perfect used bike to buy.
Yeah, I'm the bike you want to buy. Nick, probably not. My bikes are always clean. Nick's got it. He's a little harder on his bikes.
Well, that's because he's never riding it.
That's a good point. We did ride a lot. I rode a lot. I brought bikes to school. We'd shoot straight to the egg farm. Me and Kim would go right there and put in the laps. But I sucked.
Well, it's no judgment zone. And one thing that matters is that you just went riding.
It was awesome.
That is the truth.
Rolling to school with your bikes in the back was the deal. Do kids still do that? Like, nobody does that.
But I can tell you
I couldn't imagine that happening now.
Can you not? Really?
I can tell you one thing. So, that Burgundy Silverado I got in 91, Jason Grogan showed up to my high school with that 623, or it might have been 90, 623 bike in the back, and Brandon Smith's KX250 next to it. And I'm like, where are y'all going, man? Like, how long are you going to be there? And I'm like thinking, I'll run home as fast as I can, load up. And, because they were A-class dudes. And Jason was over it, but he was going riding anyway. So I
remember taking my bike to school and like, I shouldn't even been at school at that point because all I'm thinking about,
I'm out that door.
Anytime I get near a window, I'm looking out the parking lot going,
well, dude, think about Dade City. Dade City sits right next to a public school.
I would die if they were having a race or practice day on
just
Friday.
Like Wild Horse Creek.
Oh, kill you.
I would. For me, BMX early on was even bigger than Moto at that in terms of riding. I was. Whew.
Could you imagine that's out the window of some classroom?
No.
And they're like, turn to page whatever, chapter whatever.
And I'm drawing Bell Moto 3s and on my folders.
Hey, speaking of Bell Moto 3s, dude, got one on your shirt right there.
If you send it, we will wear it. I'm surprised you guys didn't
I just
jump
didn't change in time.
Yeah, thanks to Brett Smith from We Went Fast, hooked it up. Cool. He's got some cool stuff too, man. He's a busy dude. He's him and Clinton Fowler got a nice little thing going. And you can join their
work.
Yeah, he does a lot of stats. That's what he's always done for X Games and Supercross. He's got he was a producer for the Outdoor Nationals for years. Like, he's been around for a minute.
Yeah, seasoned vet.
Yep.
Sort of
he
like
looks
Nick's
really
hands.
smart too.
Yeah, you ever run across somebody like, oh, that guy's smart.
I felt like when I walked up to him, he's like, man,
I bet he could beat
these dudes
Wygant's
are
ass.
dummies.
He could beat Wygant's ass, couldn't he? I know he would crush him on a motorcycle. Dude made it to Loretta.
Oh, yeah, he can go
But
fast
straight
on
up
a
throwing
motorcycle.
hands, he would whoop the shit out of Jason Wygant. And that's not like a clash of titans, if you will, but he would beat the ass off of Jason Wygant.
I would like to see that, man. What?
Who could
Weege?
It doesn't matter. Who could Weege?
He's got a lot of cardio. What if somehow Weege stayed in it long enough to wear Brett down?
Who could Wygant actually beat up? None of the girls on the USA team.
I noticed we didn't come flying in with a list.
I've never put much thought into it.
Well, let's think about it.
I never thought about Weege and fighting. I can promise you this. Like, I don't want to fight nobody. I just want to laugh.
But you could beat Weege's ass.
So, yeah, but how am I going to muster the anger? I'd have to pay an entry fee. It'd have to be like a
competition or something, yeah.
Open mic night up there at just
open fight night.
They'd have to give a trophy.
Yeah,
it's happening.
Because that's what was going on at Day in the Dirt. I could not. Practice day was the worst I've ever ridden a motorcycle. I felt like I had no idea what was going on.
This cracker goes out and wins the damn class too. You would on that damn.
Dude, whenever the gate, when it's for real, I care.
You're the Chad Reed, baby. You qualify 6th, win the main.
Qualify 60th. But man, it is so hard to truly go to my limit in practice. When he waves the flag and we take off, dude, I was going down straightaways with the throttle all the way to the stops. And I didn't do that one time in practice, and I was comfortable with it.
Is that the way you've always been, or is that a new thing? Really,
I've always been able
to ride.
So that'd
be so frustrating if you're like the pit or my brother, like Kyle, would be like, "What is wrong with you?" And then he would just kill it during the race. I don't know. I don't know how to judge that.
I don't have a level for practice that I do have for a race, and it's still not much of a level, but it's another gear for me. And I wish I could I can't find practice intensity very often.
Where are you at, Nick?
I'm the same way. I don't really I don't go real fast either way. So, but I will open it up a little bit more in a race than I do in practice. I don't.
It's like it matters. You at least want to be at 100% of your effort.
Do you, in front of people, wick it up? Like the straightaway right in front of us at Day in the Dirt. Don't lie to me.
Well, so at Day in the Dirt, it's pretty hard to hold on by the time I get to that straightaway that's in front of you.
It's only a 4.5 minute lap time.
It was 5.5 for me.
No, you were 5:18.
Oh, 5:18. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's still a long time for one lap.
Yeah, by the time you get around there, you're like...
That's about 3 of your average racetrack. They're minute 30.
And I'm thinking, you never walked back there in that powdery sand.
No,
you
I
needed
did not.
to see that. Nick, I mean, that was the worst.
That shit was 2 feet deep and like snow that was not cold.
With holes.
Talk about the different terrain at Day in the Dirt at Dade City, because it's like
full
everything.
Range.
You go from...
And 1 acre apart, there'll be like that black stuff to the right you were talking about.
Yes.
Yes, just black, hard dirt. Then you got the track, which by normal standards you would consider a super, super sandy track. Like that. Oh, this is the sandiest
Probably
track
really
ever.
fun on a Thursday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
I would bet.
But when 2,800 people, 3,500, sorry.
3,500.
Super sandy until you go to that back section to the left, and then it's 2 feet deep. If you stop, it buries up to your axle.
It's like powdery. It's not even regular sand.
And you're not kidding about the 2 feet deep.
No, it's the sand's 2 feet deep, and the sand.
Then the holes.
The sand whoops. The holes back there get waist deep.
Dude, it's the most exhausting thing. The motorcycle pitching and pitching and pitching. You're just yanking on them bars like on a rower.
And I don't know how when you're finished, you still think it was fun, but it does. You still think it's fun. You're like, you get on the road. There was one time John and I went down the road, and I was looking at the radar gun, and we hit 71 on that road. And
then here comes a 90-degree turn.
Feels like 125 miles an hour on,
you gotta make that turn
on that road. Like you're like when we hit 71, we're going in toward that turn, and I've got both brakes. Like both wheels are just
You're trying not to lock up,
but it's locked up.
But it's sliding.
Yeah. What about Randy just out of nowhere? Randy Richardson with his ginormous balloon knee that looks unbelievably awful.
That's cool, man.
He rides 4 or 5 classes, and he goes, I'm going to bail out on some of the stuff later on in the weekend, but that's a gnarly first ride back.
Hey, Day in the Dirt is a wild place to say, well, I haven't ridden since August.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of that way anyway because it's been cold here all winter. We haven't gotten to ride a whole lot.
Yeah, and everybody there is from not Florida.
Yeah,
there's a good bit of people from Florida, but
then
it's not as many as you would think.
And all of a sudden, they're like, okay, this is going to be the hardest track you've ever been on. Plus, the shortest moto is going to be 30 minutes.
And the smallest race probably has 78 people on the track.
That was the smallest class. The biggest class probably
couple 250.
I'd say, yeah, I was going to say 300. I don't know.
Somewhere around that.
It looks like 500 when you are out there in that chaos.
And some of the team races are cool because they let you sit for a lap, which is about 5 minutes. So you'll
get
a little bit of a reprieve, but it's still like it's after you've ridden the class before, like Nick, the 70-minute, the team race, and then the coup de grace, and then the go kill your mom, whatever the hell race that is.
Chop firewood for a little while. One thing, I was fine on the Saturday team races, and Nick, you were fine. We had energy. Every time it was your turn to take the next lap, you attacked and all that stuff. On Sunday, after 2:30s, a 40, a 70,
4 hours of karaoke,
and then
back-to-back nights,
as hard as we could hit it. But on the last team race, when I was partners with Billy Wood,
who goes good for it? That dude does not look 60, does he?
Heck no, man. He looks like he could just hop on a 125 and be with the kids in his gear and everything.
Yeah. He's fit.
But it was one of those things where I was struggling for energy hard.
I believe it.
And thankfully we had Terry Hunter helping us. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better person. I mean, he was cleaning your goggles, handing you water, awesome. Holding your helmet, whatever you needed.
Dude, your hand. How critical is it to get a group of guys that you really enjoy being around like that? You can kind of handpick your dudes and pick your weekend dude. Because, man, it made, I didn't even ride. I can't imagine riding, how much fun that must have been, just the bullshit in and out, the talking, the cutting up. That was a solid group of dudes.
So that weekend, you could make or break that weekend depending on your crew.
I truly believe that. If they could
we
suck
had an amazing
everybody's
crew.
super respectful of everybody else.
If you were down there with people you didn't like, or
it's miserable, then it's miserable.
I mean, think about the coolness level. So Jake, super cool.
His dude,
Blair,
Randy Richardson, Blair,
Randy Richardson, Terry Hunter, us. Not saying we're the coolest, but it was a really good mix. Like everybody was either laughing or talking about their race. Like everybody sit down together and discuss whatever just happened. And it was super. I enjoyed it. It was a great race. I really did.
I'd love to get y'all up to High Point. If I know your schedule is going to be wild, but if you do that one's got a different vibe, and it's got that old school feel to it. They immediately did a good job with creating a awesome vibe at that one. I think they had a huge crowd. It's up at
It's High Point.
Yeah, it's at High Point, and there's a lot of trees and whatever. So
that's an
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, August 20 something through the 1st.
I'm gonna go up there. Epic track,
beautiful,
tons of history.
The coons do a great job.
Are probably next level because you're Pennsylvania in the fall.
Leaves are almost changing by then. It was pretty.
I could almost see because we come out of winter here, and
then
you're
going in early.
It's 85 degrees out here, and let's go to Florida and get roasted. You know, and
that's about the time you're looking for that fall touch, a little splash of fall.
Yeah,
what do we have in August?
Well, September, that next week is New Mexico.
Y'all have New Mexico, then y'all have we have Motocross of Nations. Then I'm going to Jamaica, and then we've got our race. But whatever, it's
that's October.
It's busy.
So
yeah,
dude, I've had so much stuff come up already this year. I've got a weekend, like a board meeting weekend retreat that I thought was in May. It's this weekend. I just happened to look at an email yesterday.
Have you confirmed your room?
And I was like,
oh God,
shit, it's this weekend. So
sick.
Friday and Saturday, I was like, oh, cool.
Isn't that hilarious?
Which I was kind of happy because now I know it's not in May. I'm not.
It's
more riding, bro. Yeah. Sick. My brother's getting ready for Loretta's, and he's on Will Hahn's the Troll Train program.
Like Wheel of Fortune.
No, he's on that program. He's paying money. He gets he goes back and forth with Will on a daily basis and is doing the deal. And dude, that's the first time I've seen him in a minute. I can see in his face he's lost some weight, man. He's pumped.
That's good.
He truly says he's enjoying the suffer more than he ever has. So,
well, I can tell you, it's awesome to ride a motorcycle, but it's more awesome to ride a motorcycle with purpose. He has purpose. If he's going to try to qualify for,
he really is shooting long term for the 50 classes. He wants to go and go this year, but I truly think if you want to be competitive, you can't just decide January for that August. You cannot do that.
No,
and be legit. If you want to do a top 10, it would take perfect starts for him.
Yeah,
he could do it. He has top 10 speed, but it would take 10 straight up bitching starts.
And you got to have a little luck. There's all kinds of things.
All the stuff. The bike has to run good.
There's
if you're not a good mud guy, which he's not a great mud guy, so
you're guaranteed to see some mud. Mm-hmm. You just are. And so I look at it I just really want to focus on with that comment that Kyle riding with purpose, that's exactly what an older, a guy who maybe maybe he just fell off the map with masculinity.
Some hard times.
Emotions.
Maybe just a chemical dump. He
had a heart attack.
Lost a lot of his emotional.
He was life-flighted.
He was
left for dead.
Left for dead. And, I look at that like he's been granted the gift of time at this point in his life. My God. See, he's so stupid.
Kyle, we're here for your comeback.
Yeah. And Kyle was penning it.
Watching Kyle ride.
Oh, watching him ride.
But dude, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I always had this goal to get 10th or better.
He wants to do Mammoth too. He wants to do the whole deal like
Kurt Nickel texted me today wanting to know about
Do you
Mammoth.
need your bikes?
Give me your phone, as a matter of fact. So
I said, we will talk tomorrow, Kurt.
That was absolutely terrible.
I really need to run this by the people in this household, dude.
You need to listen. Let me know, because we'll all go in and we'll get a big ass house instead of the little condos. We'll just go get us a house somewhere.
We're going. Amanda's going.
Nick, listen, I want you to.
What if Nick and Stephanie and Amanda go? And John's not even going.
Yeah. I mean, that would be actually good, because then I'd be like, oh, well, you did this, so I get to do that. No, I just haven't talked about it.
Don't send her just with me and Stephanie.
Yeah, you don't know what you'll get back.
That's right.
So,
yeah, you're going.
Hey, can we talk about the bike on the screen right there, the number 623 Honda of Jason Grogan's?
Absolutely.
So that bike has been sitting
right here.
Yeah, sitting in this basement.
And it's
since
been
05.
Too pretty.
So for 20 years, it's been sitting. Before that, it was sitting as well in a basement over near Crossroads. And so I just said, hey, I'm taking this thing to Chris Inc. We're going to get it dialed in and ready to go. He race tech the suspension for me.
Dude, for that bike, and I asked, following up on that, like I said, hey, how was it? Like you haven't
even
practiced
ride
on it
before. I didn't do any. I just took it down.
And I said, was it soft? Was it like all? It was
the suspension was dead on. And Chris, this time he didn't say, "What do you weigh?" He didn't say anything. He just was
Get in there, Jake.
He just was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna do the suspension. I think it needs it." And I said, "Okay." And then I said, "Hey, I think it needs I think you should do the crank in the top end. It's been sitting forever." He goes, "I don't know, man. It's really tight. I don't think we should mess with it."
Compression was great.
Yeah, and so the thing absolutely rips. And it rode, other than it feeling short,
the wheelbase
felt short. But other than that, I mean, the freaking thing ran perfect. And I'm like, if I was willing to blow this thing up right now, there's no telling how fast it would go.
Unbelievable.
Some of Jake's crew right here just setting the pace on the
good group.
I love that.
Good group of dudes.
Fox jersey.
We had a good crew, man.
Yeah, I will put that up against anybody that was there. Like it was a lot of fun. And
yeah, so today me and Nick rode with some guys, and they were kind of talking about what races we want to do or whatever. We talked a little bit about Day in the Dirt, but I think what it is we like these races that have a vibe. Yeah. They're not really there to be like serious motocross.
No.
And Kyle's digging into that arena.
Yep.
And I don't mind stepping foot in that arena occasionally, but I so enjoy these races where it's like.
And Kyle hasn't done that yet. He did just a touch of it on the first one when we all had to leave.
We got practice and got shut down. But those
are the best.
But dude, the whole attitude, the whole atmosphere, the whole place, and they're slack about. Like you would think with this many people running around and the craziness that's capable from that crowd, nothing stupid happens. Like Frank Mann pulls in and he's going, where should I camp? Where should I camp? And he wanted to be close to us.
Yeah.
And that's close to the starting line. He wanted all that. I'm like, well, how about right here? And he goes, I don't know, man. Nobody's camping over here. And I'm like,
you are.
I think they don't care.
Yeah.
And he just got this one space all by himself and just nobody said a word. You go to some races, they're
like, you come in, I'll tell you where to park.
Yes.
You don't just go where you want to go.
Cool at this place.
I'll say this, Nick, and sitting in there, speaking of old guys, because we've all kind of moved into that 50-year-old mark.
A little
The
bit.
conversations about getting catheterized I've never done that.
What are you
was
talking
so
about?
frightening. Were you not in there when it was Terry and Frank Mann were just going blow for blow, like, I did this and they pulled this out, and I blacked out, and I'm like, I'm just sitting there going, bro.
Terry's face when
that sounds terrible.
I got a little shrinkage just starting to talk about it now.
So undoubtedly,
Like
Terry
little Elvis doesn't like that.
He's
talk.
mad about this conversation,
dude. And Terry's had like Doritos just shoved in there and pulled up and out and in and out, just crunched up and just awful looking.
So, Terry said his doctor pulled his catheter out like he was trying to
chopping wood,
like a magician trying to pull the.
The hand is quicker than the eye.
But the way he said, the doctor said, "Hey, we're gonna." He just did it. And he was like about blacked out and
one. I'm gonna do it on 3
and a one and a and you black out.
Terry said, "Yeah, he can't. I can't give you notice when I'm about to do that. You'd flinch up or whatever." And then Frank had stories about catheters and how you're supposed to lube the thing and all.
See, now that's good to know, though. So apparently,
I lube everything.
If you get your catheter, you need to lube the whole thing from top to bottom because imagine
you mate stick.
Imagine a fork tube going in and out of the fork leg.
Yeah, with
if you don't have it lubed up, the whole thing, then it's going to create friction. So he was like, the doctor told him to lube the whole thing. He just did the outside part or whatever. And
I think he just did the part that went inside.
He did the tip.
The outside. And then it stretched out and it drug that dry, raw. He raw dogged that thing is what he did.
It yanked the thing
and
out.
it sounded
through his urethra.
Incredibly painful. So anyway, I hope that helps somebody if you've ever had that happen to you.
Old Guy Motocross.
If you got a video of it, we'll throw it up on Instagram.
Conversations at the track
don't
these days.
Ever go to the urologist without some chain lube.
Could you imagine when we were 20
oxycodone or something, dude?
Say we're 20 and we're like, hey man, when y'all are like
this is
50,
coming down the pipe, son. This is coming for you.
But when we were 20,
I never thought of this shit.
But at 20, you thought, I'm going to be dead by the time I'm 50 anyway.
50? What is that?
Because when we were kids, 50-year-olds looked like they were 1,000 years old.
Yes.
I guarantee you, it's not because we're 50 that we think 50 looks younger. Women look younger. Men look younger.
Archie Bunker was like 42 during that show.
Dude, he looked like he was 75 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we dealing with here?
Have we been on since Daytona? Did we even do a show since Daytona?
I think, Webb and AP. We talked to AP about Daytona.
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
And we talked about Cooper getting second. Yes, we talked about that.
That's a good show. If you haven't seen it, all of our shows, dude, our shows go back from, if you like the old dudes like RJ and Barry Higgins to Jeff Ward, we've got all those shows are all archived on our YouTube.
Yeah,
not all of them are on YouTube, but all of them are on our.
They're on Spotify.
Spotify for sure.
Wherever you get your podcast.
Bird Moto.
Hey, when were you telling the story about the lady riding out in the middle of the track on her Jeep?
On Instagram or something.
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't on a podcast, right?
No.
Okay, so we haven't truly talked about Day in the Dirt, but
not all of it. Yeah,
we had flawless weather. We had everything that you could ask for.
Weather was awesome.
John got a dub. Did you top something? You were running top 5 forever.
Heck, Nick was winning the thing.
Yeah, you're winning.
And he had a big lead or something, and some guy was chopping 30 seconds a lap out of it.
That dude did get you towards the end. I'm like, you're 100% right. He was 30 seconds.
There's no way around it when somebody's got 30 seconds. I mean, that homeboy was putting the wood down somewhere.
Where was he the rest of the race when I was leading?
There was some badass dude on
what did he do?
He was sitting in the truck. He's like, oh shit.
All right, let's go time.
There's a Moto.
I'm leading. He comes and runs me down after.
Right. Some dude on a KDX 200. Oh, there you go. Who was that?
1 foot off. That's Jake's buddy right there.
Some dude on a 82 KDX 200 was murdering that racetrack. I was pointing him out. I'm like, this guy was getting it.
82 KDX.
A KDX, like a T-shirt and some stuff. Like, dude, was hammering.
Hey, you know who's got a badass KDX? Randy's buddy, Robert Green.
Robbie has all the bikes.
If you're listening to this, Robert Green, he's got a red KDX.
Yeah.
It's fat.
He's got Kajivas. He's got KDs. He's got 3 KD80s.
Which we ought to just go there just for the you can touch one.
Well, that solves that then because Kevin and I were talking about doing our next production show, Jake, and we're going to go to Barber, and I'm going to ride one of every bike that we can get our hands on. Like if it's 7 classes.
That's the first YouTube show you actually do. It's Nick trying to navigate through every possible motorcycle. Old. I'm talking about the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
But I'm going to have to borrow a pre-74 and like a 78 bike from somebody.
Dude, 74s, man.
Much suspension.
We can all go faster than that motorcycle is.
100%. Watching Frank Mann on his bike, and that he
looks dialed in,
and he looks so good. He's perfect. But the bike, like him and Randy took off. Randy goes, woof, he was gone. That was all he saw of Randy was that.
And in Frank's defense, I mean, Randy qualified for Supercross. He's
Randy was very talented.
Kevin and I don't want to hurt your feelings, but Kevin and I thought Randy was going to catch you for a little bit.
Dude, he could have.
He was close. Close.
I always wondered every moto, when is he going to get
You were
here?
about 12, 14 seconds a lap. You had him covered, but I was like, damn, dude.
But he could have if he felt like really.
Yeah, he was on.
I mean, on the same bike, he will.
Oh, he'd wax me.
He was on that 74. We were like,
him and Kyle would have a hard time shaking Randy off.
I think anybody would unless they're Carson Brown or something like that.
But it was like from Timmy and his son were there, like
dude, we
Josh
just saw the
Josh Grant and his crew
Chad
were there.
Reed.
Chad Reed and his dudes were there. I saw Drew Adams was there walking around. I mean,
I'm trying not to be distracted by the footage behind us, but I told Jake a minute ago there was a picture of Timmy and his kid, like going over a jump, and they both got on black, and they both jerseys say 15 with Ferry on it.
Yeah.
I told him we got to get a still of that and send it to Timmy.
That's pretty
because
sweet,
it is a
man.
cool.
yeah, Timmy just turned 50. I'm sure he's really appreciating getting to ride with his kids. That's a special thing, man, to get to do that. Like you don't get to do that any sports with your kids. Harley.
He comes out to that turn track we were at today.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I mean, he lives in Sonoya, so I can see that.
Hey, right here on the screen, the guy on the Gas Trials bike dominating the mini bike class.
It's such a hodgepodge.
Or the pit bike race.
The e-bikes to the
Surons.
What's his name? Joe Dirt.
Like Joe Dirt on the
don't
KLX.
Kid yourself. Those guys that are in that race, they can ride. Like those guys winning that race, they can get down.
And they're lubed up a little bit, so their inhibitions are gone.
There's no reason to hold back at this point.
What about Keanu Reeves? What about
Keanu Alexander?
Kehlani Humphreys, when he jumps and shorts that 140-foot jump, pops right back on the bike and goes
Acted
right
like
back
that
at
was
it.
nothing.
No big deal.
He fell from a 10-story building at that point?
Three stories.
Okay. It's
Whatever.
only 30 feet?
30 feet,
30
yeah.
feet above the jumps or 30 feet from the flat ground?
I don't know.
Dude, he's way the crap
he's
up
way
there.
up.
It looks like way more than that. I don't know.
He's not 100 feet in the air.
He's 50 feet.
I bet
from
you
flat
that-
ground.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
I bet from up there it looks like 150 feet.
I mean,
And it's quiet. You're on an e-bike. It's like,
Yeah, he just short. He knew he was shorting it the minute he left the takeoff, and he had all that time to think. Then
you
he
just hear the
cases it.
wind coming down. It's just like you just fell off.
and you hit the power button. You're
He
like,
had
oh.
all that room to think about it, all that time to wait it out, case it, step off.
There's Randy Yoho, the owner of Dade City, and I was sitting next to him, and he's jovial most of the time, especially when he has a cocktail or two in him. And that lady in the Jeep during the race, we're just sitting there. And he goes, "What the fuck is that?" Like as
Why
a
is
race
there a
promoter,
Wrangler in
you
this
notice all
class?
those things. He goes, "There's a Jeep on the track, like some lady on the racetrack." And just cruising around, just like watching her child. Like she's got a child with her, and then like, oh, I want to go see. I want to be over there with him.
And it's
cruising
a
on
Jeep,
the,
so it's off-road friendly.
Sure, it's got a snorkel on the damn thing. You never know. It literally did. And then she was like, so whatever when she got pulled over. Oh, I know I'm getting a DUI. Ooh, big deal. Like what?
That's a big deal.
It is a
That's
big
probably,
deal.
What are those today? $15,000?
I mean,
Hey, let me tell you, that's a Florida native right there, son.
yeah, it is.
100%.
There was no
Yes.
doubt about that. That's a born and bred Florida woman, and she's just like out on the track. And as soon as you pull over, she's like,
What?
I know
Whatever,
I'm getting, what?
dog.
I know I'm getting a DUI.
Let me finish
alone.
this moto, and
Can I
y'all
just
can
watch
arrest
my
me.
kid ride?
Watch my
please?
kid and let me finish this drink. Get my
Yes, exactly.
Like-
Hey, is there any track where you announce from with a nicer setup? I mean, I know you could probably use 15 to 20 degrees.
I mean,
cooler.
Loretta's, but that place right there, that is all VIP and like bleachers up there, and like
It's
I mean, the
nice.
hospitality, they have a full bar up there. Like Red Bull obviously does it
And
up.
then
so
the food,
was
they bring
yeah,
in
that was
food.
jam up. It was super nice.
I haven't been in the new Loretta's Tower. That just looks like super nice.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah.
And such an odd thing. I mean, you were saying Dade City has been around, I don't even remember how
Since
many
the-
years.
He said the late 40s doing race cars.
Race cars.
Yeah, the dirt oval. And I wanted to get you and Randy together.
Yeah,
to
I
talk
would like
about
to
that.
talk to him a little bit about that. But it's pretty amazing to me.
It's a city-owned
yeah,
piece of
city-owned
property. They've
piece of
not gotten
property.
knocked out of business for some idiot.
Well, this year they cleared some trees, and we were all of a sudden aware there's a freaking mansion sitting right over there at the end of the first
And
turn.
they cleared those trees on purpose. The homeowner said, I want to get a good view of this track and get the dust in my backyard. Like, what?
Dude,
I would've left
it's a
all the
nice
trees.
house.
And he probably has to clean the filter on his HVAC like
Every weekend.
Yeah, every week.
He's in there with a air gun.
And
just
your
blowing
dust,
her
I
out.
mean, I don't understand that. Like, literally, there's a straightaway that runs right past it, 40 feet from his yard, another 30 feet to his house. Like,
It's pretty close. And it's a large house. I couldn't imagine built. It looks relatively new.
It's brand new. It was not there last year. Randy said it was brand new.
I tell you, the other thing about that Dade City, like Dade City, the city of Dade owns that track. And it's, I mean, I don't know what the population of Dade City is, but it's a nice sized little city. You know, like for reference, if anybody around here, like Carrollton or something. I mean, could you imagine like having a motocross track right in the middle of your town?
Next to the high
school?
Next
to the high school. And okay, what are you doing today?
I love it, dude.
We're going to, I mean.
Hey, that's where you'd see the bikes in the back of the truck, right, on practice day.
How badass
Jason Baker's got one coming. He's built one that's coming into Florida, and it's one of the most mind-boggling looking tracks I've ever seen. And he's just got his hands on Lake Elsinore. Did you see that?
I heard that. So
Elsinore
they must have figured it out.
It's Baker and another dude retooling Elsinore, and then Baker put his hands all over this racetrack in Florida that is a county-owned racetrack. It's unbelievable.
So Lake Elsinore used to be a lake. You can see, you can tell the dirt is lake bottom dirt. Like it's not necessarily great dirt, but you can see that it used to be a lake, and then somehow the lake receded somehow and never came back. Like, tell me how the heck
I don't know
they have this.
We'll have to get Jason on to talk about it.
But we were talking today, like California's tracks were dwindling, and it was looking like a super bad thing. Nice to see a little bit of rebound because
to help some of these other tracks. Like they're saying it's so crowded and like it's really probably not super safe right now. And
no, when you roll down to about 3 to 4 tracks for the whole state,
when there's already a huge population of riders to begin with,
it's the size of the East Coast almost. You know,
the whole thing.
State.
The state is correct.
Well, just if you're wondering, we're not going to run our mouths the whole time, but we do have Michael Mosiman in 7 minutes. So
he rides Supercross.
Dang, does he?
He's like pretty good up there.
I got him, brother.
Mosiman's one of those dudes who can just garner world-class speed at the drop of a hat.
He can. Like he
had some time off, and you're thinking,
and you're like but he's always been able to go get it.
But he just immediately recaptures.
I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me.
I love that people can do it. I have no idea how. They're special for a reason. They don't have factory rides or support rides or whatever they any of these top guys that we see on TV. Even the last place guy is.
I want to ask you because I think his first year as pro, and I'll have to confirm, but I think he had to pay for his first ride. Like you have to throw a little money at it to get on. I think he had to pay. We'll ask him, but
he paid. I think a lot of riders do that sometimes. Hey man, I need help, but I can bring this to the team, and then they let them ride, and now you're at least in the front seat where they can sort of keep.
Now he's not.
No,
I could be wrong, but I just remember that being a thing.
Yeah. Well, other riders have done that.
Sure.
There's been tons of dudes who hung on for years, and their dad was basically paying for them to be on the team.
I mean, it happens in F1.
Yeah, the
one team owner is
Lance
his son.
Stroll.
His son is one of the drivers.
Yeah,
he's okay, but he's not.
He's gotten way better.
When he started, he was not worthy of that ride.
There's 20,
but his pops owned it, so he's like, he's going to be riding.
There's 20 people in a race. Every race.
Yeah,
they got 20 drivers. And he was always 19th or 20th the first year.
Fair enough.
Okay.
And, but the kid now, he's had some top 10s. I mean, he's gotten better, which is crazy to think about that he had to dedicate himself to get better because those are the best drivers in the world.
But it's funny, he would never have been afforded that opportunity had he not just been shelled out millions.
Hey, let me tell you, Formula One is
the most elite, exclusive.
And cutthroat is like, they'll bring a guy up like Red Bull has 2 teams. They've got their Red Bull team, and they got this other team they called AlphaTauri. And AlphaTauri has,
it's like they're a 250 team.
Yeah, it's
waiting in the wings.
But like Red Bull is going to win a race, and AlphaTauri is going to be 10th or to 13th, right?
Yeah, that's their range, right?
But they'll bring a guy from AlphaTauri.
He don't give a fuck who Max Verstappen is.
Yeah, and if he goes 3 races, and if he's supposed to be in the top 4, and he's 6th, he's
done.
Done. See you.
That's a cutthroat world. Hey, look, Tim Ferry on a motorcycle.
Yeah, it was cool to see.
I didn't get to see him go around.
What about Jason Lawrence? Jason Lawrence's helmet cam. He followed a guy around. So in his helmet cam, you see him. He's cruising, and the guy in front of him just runs a dude like just saws his front wheel off essentially, and you hear Jason go, "Oh hell no!" And all these words start flying across his helmet cam footage. He goes, "You're not ruining my vibe." So he goes after this guy. And you see him track him down. And he goes, and he puts him up way up in the bushes or whatever. Yeah. And it's about the point where they jump back on the motocross track, and they jump those big ass rollers.
Those rollers were really far apart.
They were and to see those dudes huck them and get on top of them they were 6 foot tall. But he was like,
I don't know how they did that. There's some kind of optical illusion because I went over those things 40 laps or whatever the hell we did down there, 50 laps, and what they did was impossible.
I agree.
I'm just going to say it right now, like it's not.
It's humanly impossible.
Not if you go 63 miles an hour. It's not. And that's what them dudes were doing.
It's not possible to do what they were doing.
He did do it. And he goes, all right, he's like cussing. He goes, good luck getting on these. And I hope you do get on these because that means he ate shit. He goes, please come at me. Like he jumped those things. And then he comes around the next right-hander and goes, where you at, pussy? Like he's talking to the guy.
Imagine having J-Lo, like J-Law having a vengeance.
I've imagined having J-Lo plenty of times.
Yes, but imagine J-Law having a vengeance. Like he's out to get you with a vengeance. Like that'd be pretty sketchy.
He was cool not to just crush the guy, but he's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, we're all here to have fun.
Yeah, and there was
props to all the pro riders too that came through the field a million times at a million miles an hour and didn't kill anybody.
The speed differential.
Dude, you can have a guy like me out there with Josh Grant. I have no business on the racetrack with that guy.
The fact that they can look far enough ahead to not just careen into you. I mean, I had a guy that was slow, and he was committed to the middle rut, it appeared. So I'm going a lot faster than him, and I'm going to go to the inside. Well, he messes up as he enters his rut and goes straight to the inside. I just drill him in the rear tire, step over the bars, and I didn't hit the ground. Nice. The bike did. But I stepped over and I was able to stay up. But I'm like, dang, and that's just me. I'm just some dude that's not really going that fast. That was a difficult speed differential for me. Now, you add 30 miles an hour or whatever to that with Josh Grant or any of these.
It's unbelievable.
Like Carson Brown's.
My biggest accomplishment of the weekend was staying in a straight line when they came around me.
Yeah.
When Carson Brown.
Yeah, it'll pull you in like this vortex of wind and they'll suck you into
like
their draft, man.
And let me tell you something crazy. Like when Carson Brown comes, everybody's seen Carson Brown ride, right? So he's destroying whatever motorcycle he's on. Like literally
all of them.
Stretching it, killing it.
They had to weld all his bikes, fix all his bikes all weekend.
Jason Lawrence, when he comes by you, he's not working his motorcycle hard. He's so fast and smooth.
Nick's like, hey, tall gear or something like that.
Yeah, he's not even making a lot of noise when he comes by. Like it was like he came by super fast, but it was so kind of quiet that I didn't think
Carson's
it was him.
Usually on a Banshee or a Goldwing or a John Deere Gator, so he's got to drop the shit out of these things.
Well, I can tell you the first time I ever saw somebody ride the way you're discussing right there, Nick, with this super quiet and they're not making a lot of noise, but they're going Mach whatever, was Jesse Nelson at Mill Creek on that Spring National. Mm-hmm. He was easily 2 gears ahead of everybody. The bike was barely working. He was walking off and leaving everyone. And I'm just like, man, Jesse Nelson, he was on a Suzuki. And I'm just like, listen to that motorcycle. Like you can barely hear it. All the other dudes are just hitting the rev limiters on these things. Jesse's pulling the tallest gear possible. And it was visibly way better. You know,
Jason Lawrence came by me multiple times the weekend, but like right before that section going in the back, and he comes by and he's like, he doesn't even sound like he's killing it out of the corner. Like he carried so much speed. And we talked about that corner when you're going in the back. And
the right hander or whatever.
That right hander, and you would slam into the berm, you know, because there was not a lot of room. And he slammed into it, but was still
didn't make a lot of. But he's basically devastating as far as the speed is concerned.
Yes,
but it just doesn't sound.
What about so a couple of things I know. They literally had to put during one race. I think Carson went through 4 motorcycles.
Yes,
not on purpose. Like they had a plan. Like, hey, we're going to ride the first half on this, and
when it breaks, we'll go to this.
Then they had to go to the Super Mini. They had to go to the 250, the Yamaha, all these different bikes. And the guy who welded all of the trophies, he goes, Preston. Dude, Preston, I welded on all. He goes, I welded everything on that motorcycle. I welded so much.
That's incredible.
To keep that thing together. And he was only. I think I was watching during that one race. He was about 6 seconds difference on a 4.5 minute racetrack on any bike he was on. From a Super Mini to a CR250. Come on.
Who can do this, you know?
Carson Brown can.
I would hate for him to ask to ride my 95 CR250.
No, you don't ever let him.
He probably would never get it back.
And we asked him about that. Hey, what do you do with your bikes whenever you sell them? He goes, they're one owner, garage kept, primo, well taken care of. No.
He's destroying those
He does,
things,
man.
He's flying though too. Like when he comes by you, he came by me in that 2 foot deep sand.
It's a beautiful thing.
They make it look like it's easy.
He
all the lines
doesn't even look sandy for him. He just comes like
It does not look
there.
sandy, but the lines are just like this. When you face the straightaway, when you're heading to it, whooped out, and the lines are crisscrossing.
He plows through it like a ski boat going across the lake.
So he won everything, and then he raced the Coup de Grace. He raced that 70-minute race
right before the 90-minute.
That one. It's like the guy's gnarly, and he never let up. His lap times are always just berserk.
At 90 minutes, he was ripping, and then thankfully he went over there to the sand sculpture. Just put that Honda in fifth gear and just held it wide open.
Yes.
I can't imagine how far the roost was throwing. Can you imagine fifth gear on a CR250 or whatever bike that was?
Hey, let's give Michael Mosiman a call.
Okay. What do you think the chanceability of
I don't think
Janky Radio is tonight? Hey, and it's also a miracle on all these team swaps when we pull in there and hand off
nobody
wristbands.
gets just hurt or crushed.
Yes. How in the world?
It's really fun though. That's a good
Look
time.
at Kevin,
we're doing it,
bringing the excellence.
Hey,
Michael Mosiman.
how we doing?
Hey, buddy, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Well, you just finished up with your men's group. How'd that go? Everybody good?
Yeah, it was good. Community group, so it's a mixed group, men and women, and yeah, they bring food to our house, and we all have a little potluck, and
Love it.
yeah.
What do we have on the menu for tonight?
What is Michael Mosiman? If you have to bring a covered dish, what is your home run?
Ooh.
Gotta be impressive.
Come on, man. I know you got something in the bag.
You know what? I got a really mean chicken wing recipe, believe it or not. And it's like a classic one. Like, I never used to like chicken wings. And then it's like, a dad passed down, like not my dad, but a dad.
Genetically.
Passed down this recipe. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty special.
Is there a certain age where you start like appreciating a good cheese dip recipe, like a chicken wing recipe? Like when you're 19, you're like, what are you talking about? But now a good rub, nice chicken sauce seasoning.
It's a thing.
It is a thing. It is. And how old are you now, Michael?
25 years old.
Dude, your car insurance just boomed.
It just went down. Yep.
I know.
Don't you wish
I'm renting all the cars this year.
Yeah, it's under him. He's got a fleet of them. He's letting Cole drive one. All your buddies, all the kids down there at the place.
Well, not Cole. I don't know about Cole.
But maybe.
You got any good rental car stories? I know that's kind of a cliche question, but I mean, I don't know if you guys get wild anymore. Like my kids, they don't drive crazy. So are you a wild driver? Are you just like A to B?
No, in the modern era, the driving's gotten way tame. I hear all the stories from the 90s when the rental car scene was just insane.
But Michael's also trying to be a good person.
No, I'm saying the 1900s, the 1990s. Yeah. You remember the 1900s?
Like last century?
They don't have the e-brakes. They got a little push brake. Those are lame, dude. The e-brake with a steering wheel, you can just
that was great.
Drift it, Ken Block style.
Yeah. I think the closest thing we get in our generation is golf carts at Loretta's.
There you go.
Okay, fair enough.
At least you got a story or something
from
somewhere,
Thanks for running insurance up for every racetrack in America, man.
You're welcome.
Yes, way to go.
Dude. Well, how about that? You put California on the map with your podium finish, man. Your clever little comment made me laugh. He goes, "Man, I'm just trying to put California on the map because I can't remember who was talking about their state. Was it? Oh, it was Cody Schock.
Yeah, Cody Schock.
Yeah.
First podium or something for Connecticut.
Yeah. Then you go, well, I was just happy to get California on the map with a podium. That was my favorite comment from the press conference. I even texted you about that. But yeah, man, you're carrying the flag for California. Good for you.
That's what it is. Got to represent. There's not many of us, but I will say that the NorCal flag. We don't claim Southern California, and we're a bit of a different scene. There hasn't been a ton of us, but there's a few of us right now, and I hear there's another wave coming that's pretty strong.
Nice. So are you Sebastopol or Alpine? Who's
Sebastopol?
Sebastopol. So who's the kid I'm thinking of? Alpine, California kid. Dang it.
Yeah, Kevin's got a mixed match of Loretta's.
Well, I remember
over the years.
Yeah, I remember you being from Northern California, so that's a thing for sure, man. It is different. Like that area is just gorgeous. We go to Mammoth every year, and it's a different. It's not San Diego's gorgeous. It's
Mammoth
not LA.
Doesn't even count. Mammoth's not NorCal.
No, it's not NorCal, it's just not SoCal.
But it's an alpine area. It just reminds me of what like some of those pockets might be.
Yeah.
Hey, did you have some hero growing up, Michael? Like NorCal, like Lamson, or who was your guy?
Pollock Pines, California, Steve Lamson. I got that.
NorCal hero. No, I don't remember. There wasn't a current like top pro that was from NorCal when I was growing up. So I was the first one to make top 5 and stuff for a long while back.
Talon Vohland, they from up there? They from NorCal?
Yep, I think that they might have been the ones the previous to me.
Okay.
And then we kind of broke in the scene again, and then of course Max. So
you really are flying the flag for NorCal, man. Way to put them on the map.
Doing my best.
Yeah.
Well, so how is it being? You're like the old man, and not in a bad way. Or I guess Max is actually. You can kind of point at him when you guys are all training together. How's that feel? Like, I still got a few more years on you.
Yeah, it is a bit different, because you feel like you're the veteran, you've been around, and you got all these young kids, and then he looks at you like you're the young kid as well, and so. But I think him and I, we hold it down. We claim the old people thing and look down at all the other kids being goofballs and talking about the girls and the Instagram and all this nonsense, and we're married and a little bit more stable.
Chicken wing recipes.
Yeah, exactly. Chicken wing recipes. And when you think about being old, think about RJ was like over the hill. He was 25 and done, dude. Does that blow your mind? Like how
Ricky Johnson?
Yeah, Ricky Johnson. Yeah, it was done.
Yeah, these guys called it a career at 25, Michael.
You know what? Some guys at the Bible study were just asking me about that. They were like, "What's old?" And I was like, "Well, it used to be about 27 you retired, and that was like a good career." But then, you know what I was thinking about recently? Cairolli was like 39, 40, still winning MXGPs.
Very relevant.
Yeah.
Like from 16 to 40.
24-year career.
Competing for wins. That's insane to me.
I wonder, did he end at 9 titles?
It was 8 or 9.
Everett's was 10. And I kept thinking Cairolli will get a 10th title, but I don't remember thinking that he did. So,
but that also tells you how far training and fitness and nutrition and and
technique, all the things that save you. These
injury
days.
recovery.
Do you think those crappy bikes that just jam their backs for like the first 10 years of their career, like RJ rode a double shocker metal gas tank, just
that
turd
was the
of a
start
motorcycle.
Of his motorcycle
I mean, I don't know.
Twin shocker.
Yeah.
It couldn't be good.
Tom Brady's 100, so I mean, football players play later, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you?
I don't know. It's all trending later, though. I mean, the top of the 450 class. I don't think a lot of those guys are going to retire soon. I mean, even Eli, hasn't been able to pull the trigger and finish it off. And I think it's just, I don't know. It's addicting, and we are able to recover a little bit better, and the money's good when you're at the top. So.
Kenny's like 31 or 32 now.
Coop's right there with him. Eli as well. I mean, it would have been a old guy podium like the Geritol top 3. Let's give it up. And I got no problem with that. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and just think about.
I tell you what. I mean, if they had all retired at 26, I would be at the top of the 450 class right now.
No doubt, man.
Get out of the way, dude.
You're facing some serious legends. That's for sure.
Now, every time you talk to him, you got to be like, "Come on, man! You're getting old.
You're getting pretty old,
God,
man. I think you should call
her. Yeah. I need to start planting the seeds.
Yeah, just putting the seeds, they're getting their brain.
Just trip them all the time, down it.
Yeah,
man,
but for a fact, Michael, that when you were a kid, if someone was 50 years old,
Holy
they looked like
cow.
they were 110. And nowadays, like some of your mechanics or whatever that might be older than you, I don't know, people on the team, that personnel, like they don't look as old as they used to look. And dang, 32 doesn't look as old as it used to look either in motocross world.
My mechanic, he looks older, but he's 23.
Okay, so maybe he made choices.
Shocks me.
You've stressed that dude out.
Me. It's like.
Okay, I went the other way.
Oh man, all right. And he's younger than me. It always weirds me out. But,
see, that's the way you need to treat Eli and Kenny and those guys when you talk to them. Just be like, God, dude, you're getting wrinkled up. Dude. I think I see some new wrinkles on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to
Yeah,
retire.
and at one point at Gas, I had a realization. I was like, my mechanic is younger than me, and so is my team manager.
Oh
Like,
wow, yeah,
everyone
I
here.
didn't think about
It's
that.
like,
Damn.
it was strange.
As long as you're younger than Bobby, you're good.
Yeah, that one. I'm catching him, but he's pulling away at the same time. So we'll see.
What is? Do you have a Bobby impersonation? Can you do him or?
Well, you see, here we're about winning, and so you guys might have heard some stories about me, and some of them are true, but it's because we're here for winning and winning only.
Yes.
Sounds like Cole Trickle's team manager there from Days of Thunder.
Yeah. I feel like you had a good impersonation.
Here's one he said to me after the second round. He sits me and Cole down and, well, listen, everybody that beat you guys last week, they all called me today and said they want to be on our team this week. So you guys got the best bikes. I want to see 1, 2, 3 on the podium.
Ain't nothing to it. It's easy. I mean,
no pressure.
Easy.
If he tells you, you just got to go out there and do it. It's pretty simple.
He's like the Team Hurricane manager from Winners Take All.
I got a little money on
You're slipping like a young girl in her first pair of heels. We are in bad financial shape. You lose this race, you might as well think about retirement.
Yeah. I really like him though. I think he's really smart, and a lot of people think he's a little crazy, but I think it's all intentional, and I think he just wants to win, and he wants to do well, and he wants to see his guys fall in line, and he's old school and wants to see hard work ethic, and he wants to see you skim the whoops. I think I qualified like 7th or something, but on TV I had one good pass through the whoops, and the commentators were like, that was the best I think I've seen anybody skim the whoops at Indy.
Yeah, and I think it was the best. I remember this.
And I got back P7 in the practice. He gives me hey, that was a good practice, son.
Okay.
I'm like,
you just did the whoops. That's all he gave a shit about.
That's all he's worried about.
That's what I like to see. We ain't doing them jumpers.
Hey, but there's truth to like, people that grow up and they have high school coaches or, in other areas of the world besides moto. And that's who they remember. They remember the guy who is opinionated. He might be hard on you because he really just wants the best out of you, and he truly probably sees your potential. And
all 14 of you.
Like that, it'll be special. Well, yes, all 14. But he'll be special to you when you're done racing. Like you'll remember.
I think so.
And because some guy that doesn't really say much and all that stuff, I mean, Bobby lays it out there, man. He tells you how he feels.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think is real accountability, and you know exactly where his expectations are, and the team's willing to stop at nothing to achieve those. And so you have all the resources, and it comes down to you and how you're going to use them. And so that's why it's a winning program, and will continue to be as long as he's at the helm.
Yeah, driving it.
Do you like being down in North Florida, South Georgia, or whatever, versus California? You feel like you can dig in down there?
Yeah, I like Florida. I've been somewhat based out of Florida, Central Florida, Claremont, down there in the Sandbox area. I was at Alden's for some years, and then Sandbox for 2 years, and now we moved 3.5 hours north, and we're in Tallahassee. Got some rolling hills here, so that's nice. And I don't mind it one bit. I think that I don't know. I'm used to the humidity. I like it, and the only thing, Tallahassee Airport, there is no direct flights anywhere.
Yeah, you got to transfer.
Have you been sideswiped by a bike, or a car, like
on
Dax?
Your bicycle?
Yeah, while on your bike, like Dax had last year.
No, I took the warning, and I do a lot of my stuff indoors on the spin bike just to.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Man, riding a bicycle on the road, I mean, it's just a matter of time. No one is looking at the road.
No.
They're all texting.
That is crazy. 10 years ago, it was fine.
Yeah.
But now,
or maybe 20.
15. Yeah,
15.
the phones now, you can't ever, nobody's driving, they're looking at their phone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a smart, life choice for sure. Hey, Michael, this is kind of just something I saw on the broadcast for when Hammaker won. It appeared when he came around, you kind of just went with him, and then until you didn't, and then you just swung it hard left or something before the over-under or the bridge or whatever. I can't remember exactly, but that's what came to mind when Kevin said, "Hey, we're going to call Michael Mosiman." It seemed like you swerved hard left and just let him roll. Was there any thought to that, or just you were just like, "Hey, man, I'm going to see if I can grab this mojo right here and get it going again"?
I mean, I crashed on the whoops, skim till you die, and I died. And
that's a shirt.
A sweat.
Skim till you die.
I got a bunch of sweat in my goggles, and that track with distorted vision and a bent bike with 4 laps left. It was just get it to the finish line, and unfortunately, it was a huge gap to the guy in front of me, and
yeah.
So, I don't want to impede the race. I just realized, the blue flags are for me. That's unfortunate. Let me get out of the way. And yeah, it's more or less a story. And then, even after that is hard to see and stuff. So just bringing it home.
Well, it's probably one of those things. You probably have not had a ton of blue flags in your career. I can't imagine.
Right.
We spoke before you came on about how you can gather world-class speed on any given lap. I mean, is that we're like in awe of that because you had some time off.
Yeah, that's bizarre to me to be able to go, all right, you got a 7th and you got a whatever, then you got on the podium. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, I know you're probably coming back and getting, in race shape, getting your legs underneath you, but geez, man.
Yeah. You want to hear something?
Heck
so Indy, I was really disappointed with how that went. Just like the day as a whole in qualifying, I just felt like I was missing a bit and wasn't able to kind of put things together. I got a good start in the heat and, led some laps, but still just wasn't able to put consistent laps together and was making little mistakes. And anyways, I was really just disappointed in my effort and my kind of like the moment, I think, with a lot of guys on the track. Just got overwhelmed with a mid-pack start and then was, kicked it into survival mode way too early. And so it's set a fire underneath me. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to accept this. Like, just, racing to, get okay finishes is not acceptable. And I've put in, a lot of work since then. Just into my form and technique, and and it's actually really exciting. And so the first day riding back, we went outdoors after Indy, and we went to a sand track, and Deegan is just ripping, just like he's at race pace on lap 3. It's just unbelievable. And I think I was like, 6 seconds off or 7 seconds off, something ridiculous.
Come on.
And
Wow.
And so then it was like, okay, I really needed, what's going on, like And we went back. That was Tuesday. We rode at the farm on Wednesday, and I was like the fastest in, your Super Bowl time out of the 250 guys.
That's wild.
And then Thursday we went back to the sand track, and it was like, a second or something.
Okay.
Or, it was a lot closer. And it was like, all right, we're within normal, reasonable range, for the guy that won the outdoor title.
For sure.
And so it's kind of like you guys bringing that up that I can go to that speed. I'm having to realize that myself, that like that speed's still there. And I think just having the negative result has really put a fire underneath me.
Okay.
And I've been putting a lot of work into my elbows. And like simple things like that, I think, are leading to just little bobbles that are unnecessary. And yeah, really approaching it in kind of I don't know, breaking it down. And it takes like, I don't know, like 150 to 250 reps to like get a new neural pathway when you've had like a long-term bad habit.
Dude, don't use your college words on us, dude.
Yeah. Sorry.
Come on, man.
Can we take a break while we look up?
To break muscle memory.
Thank you.
To break muscle memory and replace it with a new muscle memory.
See, that's why I didn't get on them SATs.
I
man.
know them.
They break out them big old ones.
Them SATs tests.
Yes.
But hey, that's interesting because
you're cerebral. I dig that.
To roll 250 of these.
Well, 250. Just if you did 250 corners, that takes all day. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and you have to identify the problem, acknowledge it, and then identify the solution, and then like come to a full understanding why it's better, and then commit to it as a new technique. Think of recreating your shot in basketball, you guys are baseball guys, I know.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yes.
And so
he was pretty
adjusting
good at
your
basketball
swing.
too.
So it'd be a matter of, sitting down and then, all right, figure out what's going on. And then, go do 20 to 60 reps, straight. And for me, it's like hitting a section, elbows up, until that becomes a little bit normal. But then the next day I got to do the same exact thing. And
I gotta go find a track that's got some of them neural pathways on it.
250 turns.
I don't know if
need.
it's a wood loop or it's a regular motocross track where they got neural pathways.
Hey, so who's in charge? We're dipshits.
Neural Pathways MX.
Who's in charge of who brought that up to you, or did you and your dad or your brother? I mean, you guys are all pretty smart.
Or do you watch video of yourself and you're like,
I'm sure he does, but I'm just wondering who goes, hey, the whole problem here is your elbows are 3 inches too low, too high. It fixes everything. That's fascinating to me.
It's part of something that I've known for a long time, as far as my own riding technique, and with my performance coach, Filippo Barbieri, he brought it up to me after Indianapolis. He's like, hey, I think there's all these other, various issues that we need to work on and improve, but I think you need to work on your technique. And he's like, that's out of my, field, but I think that they're, just watching you, I think that, you need to improve your technique.
Is that why you were at Balco he was like, this is out of my field, as he's sticking that in your arm, and then he's that was my Barry Bonds reference. Balco, it was in South Florida. It's where all the
but he said
baseball.
Barbieri
I know, but it made me think of Balco, and that was Barry Bonds. So he's getting you all juiced up on your steroids. And
baseball
he's like, hey man,
reference there,
as you're doing curls,
and he was a NorCal guy, Barry Bonds.
Yeah, exactly. Play for San Fran. So anyway,
Barry Bonds. Yeah,
we
can
see
take
you,
it off.
All of a sudden, you saw him.
Your head's way big. He's wearing like a triple X.
Yeah, 14X helmet.
What's going on with Michael Mosiman? Dude's yoked.
So for anybody who thinks motocrossers are just a bunch of dumb adrenaline junkies, I mean, Mosiman's proving this.
No, you are. You've always been cerebral, and I appreciate that.
But yeah, you like to go fast. But the truth is, there's a lot of science behind how you're trying to go fast.
Yeah, because look, they're all the top 80 you guys are just 2% from being a champion. Like whatever that 2%, however you got to get to it. So I'm sure that has to drive you. I'm sure that would make me wake up at 5 a.m. if I was that damn close.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, it's twofold. It's kind of your will to win and just make it happen. Because there's 1,000 ways to win a championship. I mean, RJ Hampshire won the championship, and Christoph Purcell has won a championship, and that's just the realities. And Osborne and Jet, and so you have just a super wide range, and certainly gives hope to just about anyone that is at high level that okay, you can put it together, you can figure it out. And so it's about finding your way, and it's not going to be the same as anyone else's way. but my way's a bit more cerebral.
So yeah, but you're not hurting your chances right there. You're educating yourself as much as possible on the entire process, which will increase your chances.
Yeah, I think that for me, because I am cerebral, it's like I have to approach it in a cerebral way. And you know what else? There's another cerebral. Do you guys like the cerebral stuff? Because I have another
Kevin
thing
loves
I
that
learned.
word.
No, I
He's
do.
Just over here salivating.
I do love that.
We love it. I love the X-Men.
I'm fascinated with
No.
So
Brain Guy, Mega Man.
I had a realization in the whoops. So in the whoops, like you get off the back, right, for traction and stability and whatnot, and to keep your knees from going forward. But the other thing is you have more leverage because the only turning point, the going back to Bill Nye, the fulcrum is at the fork tube.
Okay.
You just quoted Bill Nye, dude.
Everything behind that is leverage. So if you're holding my arm or my elbow and you're holding it close to my elbow and I try to move, you're not going to have the leverage.
Yes.
But if you hold my elbow, my fist and I try to move my arm, you're going to have way more leverage to stop that movement. So getting off the back of the bike and having your knees be able to rein the bike in if it goes sideways, you just simply have more leverage. So you're not using as much energy to bring it, back, and it's more likely to go straight. And that I put that together, and I was like, that makes so much sense, and it just helps me to okay, I need to get off the back because it's more leverage.
Yeah,
it's funny that you say talking about, and every time I say Bill Nye, I have to say the whole thing.
The science guy,
Bill
of course.
Nye, the science
guy.
guy.
Don't ever short him, man.
Which we have a little thing that we normally call people, like if we're talking to a guest, we always, not really, but a few people, we call them by their full name just because that's not like Brock Glover.
Hey, Michael Mosman.
Hey, Michael Mosman.
Remember that time you did that jump, Michael Mosman? It was really cool, man. Can I get your autograph, Michael Mosman?
But
Kevin Kelly.
Exactly.
Wes Kane.
So
exactly.
But thinking about that, you break that down to where the fulcrum is, right? And so then, like you're talking about your elbows,
the Johnny Cash.
And I know, I know we're riding. Everybody's, your elbows got to be up, but I've never thought about why they've got to be up or where I should be or where, you know what I mean? Okay.
Of control.
To explain, you know what I mean? I understand why squeezing with your legs helps because you control everything and you drive it back. But
yeah, do you want me to explain it? Because I just had some realizations with that too.
I think you should. Hold on, let me get my pencil.
We're writing this down.
Dead serious, Michael.
Suck it, AJ Canzero.
We love this.
Slap that.
So if you think about if you have a broomstick or something in front of you, and you have your elbows down, well, you don't have. If I push that broomstick in, it's going to go straight to your chest,
Boom.
Or you're going to hurt your wrist trying to stop it.
Okay.
But all of a sudden, if you have your elbows up, they're in a much stronger position to resist that force. And so you have leverage that's created, and all of a sudden you can have stability. So the bike can dip or twist or whatever, and you have way more leverage to be able to
disrupt you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's simple and it's genius.
And like you said, they're away from your body. If your elbows are closer to your body, then it makes your whole body move as well. Like your hips.
Nick is holding a drumstick over here, sort of trying out everything.
He's literally mimicking while you're doing it.
What you're talking about, yes.
There you go. Perfect. Then you guys are getting a visual.
Well, and you're riding with purpose like that. Nick practices with purposes, he does drills and things like that. I think all that's important, because Kevin, you're saying these dudes are all within 2% of each other. You really are. I mean, Michael Mosiman exhibits world-class speed when he can muster everything, right? So, all those little details in place, you're going to get to the world-class speed safer, sooner, all the things.
All the way through the finish.
Yeah. Speak to that, Michael, because I know, Michael Mosiman, because sometimes...
Hey, Michael Mosiman.
Man, you remember that time you jumped, I jumped?
You did that, Michael Mosiman. That was so cool, Michael.
I don't think he knows about real rednecks. Tallahassee,
you remember that, Michael Mosiman, we were talking about Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Now, I guarantee you Michael Mosiman has sat in that line with at the autograph line.
Oh, you know the rednecks.
I would love
Hey, man, it's pretty bad when you hit that turn like that. That's pretty awesome, man.
How you do them cross-ups, man? My brother's got a Banshee. You ever rode a Banshee? They're pretty fast. I mean, I ain't going to say it's going to be...
You guys need to go mic'd up with disguises and...
Don't
go through the autograph line.
Do not give us ideas.
Hey, Deegan, I know you think you fast, but I got a Banshee right now with your name on it.
I need a live view, 4 hours in the autograph line for Hayden Deegan.
I would imagine.
Can you imagine? That guy gets it, man. I mean, God. I feel sorry for him.
He gets a lot of attention. I agree with that. But so Michael, let's.
But what I was going to say is
Nick was heading.
So you break all this down. Speak to, because nobody really talks about this, because most people, when they post on Instagram or whatever, like something from the test track, they're just doing something that looks really cool.
Yeah.
But how much do you guys do drills? Like you work on your form drills, and I know you do sprints, and how much actual technique drills and stuff do y'all do?
Yeah, and who's there orchestrating it, or is it is it your deal, or does everybody have their own kind of hunt? Or are they on their own little deal? How's that work?
Yeah, I've been a part of a number of different programs. Everyone kind of does it their own way. Usually it's, sprint laps and, sections is where you would get more technique work. With Will, I did more technique work. A lot of times though, the mentality is you got here, at this level, you know how to ride. So let's just make sure you're putting in the effort and the intensity and get the lap times and put the work in. And then at Star, a lot of times how it works is you get the program done, and then afterwards is when you're welcome to do extra riding to work on your elbows, to work on whatever. A lot of times that's kind of how it goes. And so some guys will, be tired and they're not going to keep going. Some guys, might go on for a long time, working a section, and some people are testing. I mean, there's so many of us that it's kind of hard to corral us all into one thing, and everyone needs a little bit different. But so there's part of that that's with, and then also I think it depends. In season and preseason, preseason there was some more times where there was emphasis on technique and getting a certain thing right. But yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed bag. But I'd say for myself, I take full responsibility for technique and making sure I'm putting in the time to get that dialed in. And quite frankly, I think that after Indy, I'm taking that way more seriously. Yeah. And I'm seeing way more results in my riding since then.
Wow.
So I'm, I don't know, motivated, rejuvenated,
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, how addictive is that when you go, okay, I did this and I got this result. It's holy cow, I'm going to double down and dig in even more.
Feeds it.
It's insane. Today was probably the best day of riding I've had, in years. Maybe not years, but it's been a while.
That's got to feel good
this year.
I mean, that has to feel
That's what
good.
you're always searching for, is that day where you just feel so good.
Or that little bit of extra motivation. You know what I mean? You got that motivation.
Well, you got a result. You're holy cow, this created that.
We made a joke earlier. We were talking about, people, we're old, so old people needing purpose. But it does feel better. And we were talking about, before you came on, about going to ride with purpose. And now, with you having a little bit of a rejuvenated feel for your purpose, that's awesome.
And some results from the effort. It just feeds itself to where self-fulfilling.
It's huge.
Yeah. It's the momentum. It's your momentum.
I feel better when I leave the track. I'm going to feel better, when I go back to the track. It's just, going the extra mile and doing what you need to do, and it pays off. So
you go home and
spend,
you spend that extra time working on that chicken wing recipe.
That's what it is.
Really getting that rub down.
All right, let me tell you guys this recipe, though.
Let's go back.
It's going to knock your socks off. So chicken wings, chicken drums, it's better with the wings because you get more seasoning per bite. But the drums, you get more meat, so it's give or take. I usually do some of both. And you, in a bag, way too much salt, way too much pepper, way too much onion powder and way too much garlic powder.
And those are exact quantities, guys.
Yeah.
So write that down.
You just, and you shake it all up in the bag, make sure everything's getting a little everything.
Okay.
And then, let it sit however long you like. It could be 20 minutes, could be, a day, whatever. I don't know that it makes a difference. And then throw it on the grill. And then here's the secret. You melt like a half stick of butter and put a couple spoonfuls of apple cider vinegar in it. And then while it's on the grill, you get one of those brushes. It's called basting. And you brush the butter with apple cider vinegar on the chicken.
Dude, with all the salt, pepper, onion powder, everything.
What happens is the apple cider vinegar breaks down the chicken. And so it seeps the butter all the way in. And then
he's a scientist.
He is Bill Nye,
a true
I'm telling you. I this is not me originally, but I got this from
Michael Mosiman, the Chicken Man. You got Bill Nye the Science Guy. You got Michael Mosiman, the Chicken Man.
That sounds like a Bill Nye the Science Guy recipe.
This is the next level, food preparation, man. So, you think I'm not going to try this? I swear to you. It's not that difficult.
No, that sounds amazing.
I'm telling you, it's not that difficult.
And I put a bunch of stuff on the green egg. I love doing steaks and stuff. But what you're talking about, the garlic, salt, pepper, and now you can buy they call it GSP rub or whatever. It's garlic, salt, and pepper. And that's on everything.
Yeah.
Like that. You can make anything good with that.
And you can level it up if you put that chicken on the dash of your truck at a Walmart for about 4 hours.
And if salmonella don't eat you dang soul out, if you survive that, son, that chicken is good.
Salmonella is part of the reward.
Think about, all right, what was it that lets the butter? It's the you based on what? Apple cider vinegar. Okay.
Folic acid.
Yeah, I will forget that part.
Melted with apple cider vinegar, and that's the key. The rest of the stuff is so-so.
The rest of the stuff, whatever the seasoning is, will penetrate it based on those two things that you did.
The apple
initially,
cider, which I want to try that because I feel
you want the flavor to go in through. It's so good. It's
I wonder if you could do that with a steak. If it would cause the butter to penetrate the steak.
Filter oil will do the same thing.
Foam filter oil. Yeah, maximum
some chain wax.
I want to try it because apple cider vinegar 2 years ago was the answer to every question.
You just rub that on your face and it'll cure skin cancer.
You cut your hand off, just put some apple cider vinegar.
It'll grow right back.
Like
that.
Sure.
100%.
That was literally
it really
the answer
was.
for
I do
everything.
remember everybody drinking little teaspoonfuls of
avocado
before bed. Yeah,
take
a shot of apple cider vinegar and it'll be, everything will be okay. Your wife will come back.
Yeah, your wife. Take a sip. Your wife will come back. So, Michael, you're a man of faith, and you're involved in some sort of church or youth group, or not youth group. Men's group or community group, whatever. Because you said it was
co-ed group.
It's co-ed. How many people in the motocross world are making time for this during the week? I can imagine you're pretty smoked.
Kennard.
Shay Kennard.
Sorry, and then Shane McElrath. Sorry, I got the two confused.
Okay, we got two. But I'm just saying,
it's just not very prevalent.
I think Michael Mosiman, hot summer, he's done more than anybody in his group has done physically during that day.
Sure.
But you're still, I applaud you making time for it. I just wonder, do you have any riders from Star attending this get together? Are you kind of the only Moto guy?
No, they're welcome to come. But
they're welcome to come. I just don't tell them about it.
Yeah, I just
dude, make a shirt that says Skimmers for Jesus.
This one works out because they bring the food, so it's we don't have to take care of dinner for the night. It's brought to our house.
That part's nice because as a child, they don't tell you you're just cooking forever.
That's a good point.
Okay,
I got to factor that one in.
Talking about being right with the Lord and everything, I want to have a little more moral discussion here about when somebody brings Like they bring potluck over, right? Everybody brings a covered dish, however you do it, whatever.
I don't know if this is in the Bible, Nick, but let's continue.
This is probably, I don't remember this part, but I can read back through it.
BoJangles 13:22.
I'll skim for Jesus'
Dude, BoJangles, stop it.
I guess
I'll skim back through it. What is the morality of, like, somebody brings something good, like they bring some casserole that's really, really
like
good.
Filet
right?
mignon casserole.
But it doesn't get all eaten there, okay? And it's on your dish, like you took it out of their dish and put it on your dish. Do you get to keep whatever that dish? Like if you took your chicken wings somewhere and you know, they put them out on a platter there and you brought 50 and only 25 of them, I know it's impossible because they're the best ones ever, but only 25 of them got eaten. And do you take your chicken wings back with you? Like you undo them, put them back in your thing, take them with you?
So are you left with leftovers,
or do you get to keep some leftovers since you hosted?
Dealing with leftovers
since you hosted,
I would say if I was
there's
a
a
host,
rent factor involved there.
If you're the host, that's your call, I think, right? You can say, hey, I think if you'd like to take those back.
Yeah, I think
Nick's worried about this.
I think how it works is if they like it, you know, if whoever made it, you know, if they like it, then they take it back. But sometimes they'll pawn stuff off on us.
Yeah, if they bring something.
Keep this meatloaf. I hate
we
it's
had
so
like
runny
3
and
boxes
everything.
of cookies in our house for like 3 weeks.
I've only got so much Tupperware, sir.
Like my wife and I, we weren't eating them. Yeah. And it's just like, all right, every week we bring them out, and a few more get gone. It's a mess. So, I know if it's good, you know,
if it's good, it's gone.
You hope they leave it, but
there's a sliding scale there too, because there's a lot of things in life that have sliding scales that we talk about. Like there are certain things like with harassment, like workplace sexual harassment.
Where are we going with this?
I don't know. We just
hold on tight,
you
Michael.
Understand? Like if a really ugly dude,
like what we need to talk about. Right
if a really ugly dude says something to a woman, it's harassment. But if this dude looks like Brad Pitt walking around with his shirt,
then it's awesome.
Then it's like, oh, he was flirting with me.
Yeah, now that's just a.
That's an
good-looking people get they get a
Free
handicap, like a golfer handicap, like they just get more.
You get by with more stuff because now they're impressed that you said something to them.
That's fair enough.
Instead of
fair
enough. I mean, that's so. I think that goes with the covered dish as well, because if it's really good. And
it's cool, man. Just leave
go ahead
it.
And get a little bit of that to go.
Yeah,
versus when somebody comes in, you tell it's been at their house for 3 weeks and it sucks, and nobody at their house wants it, and they bring it to your house for a cover, and then they try to leave it.
They're like re-gifting
this
you.
This is a long way.
It sounds like you got some experience with this.
It does. So we're 50. So these are things we worry about. We don't worry about dirt bikes and skimming whoops and whatever. We're just like.
I was just thinking about that. I mean, this is like a foodie meets motocross podcast.
This is what you've got.
I'm thinking.
Well, typically our goal is to talk to you about.
These are life lessons.
We'll talk to you about everything.
Go ahead, Michael. What were you saying?
Moto.
You go to the race, you know, and then it's like the race after the race is the grilling and the chilling, and that's
boom.
You know, that's important stuff.
And one day when you're old,
listen,
you race
at age 50,
races.
it really is. We just went to Day in the Dirt, and the race itself encompassed about 12%. Of our fun and just hanging out and just the driving to, getting ready, all the stuff. Like, you know, you'll get to it. You're halfway there. You're 25. We are 50. So.
Hey, 50.
I can tell you, as Michael Mosiman, as a 25-year-old, you've got some, like, there are going to be moral dilemmas because there are going to be some people in your group that invite you to their house and they can't cook, like their food sucks.
They don't know about apple cider
so you
vinegar.
You got to learn to eat before you go there.
Yeah, you got to learn. At least now you can say, you know, I'm a pro athlete. My trainer said
my diet.
Yeah, I just can't eat
I've already eaten
food.
And now you just have to leave your wife out to dry like she's got to eat.
Yeah, you're on your own, honey.
Right.
I don't know about her. I can't speak for her. I'm an elite athlete.
I'm an elite athlete. My trainer specifically said no runny green bean casserole.
But she can have all the gravy you can throw at her.
So where I was headed with that before these clowns took over with BoJangles 913 or whatever he quoted, that really was an all-timer. Kevin, I'm just saying. So
if you'll turn to BoJangles 913 in your NIV, if you will, so, that gravy stain's still on page 13.
My point was, Michael, before these clowns derailed me. So
listen, I go to church. I can say that.
I know. It's all fun. God wants us to laugh. But my point is, you're going above and beyond. on your weekly schedule to make this important? I know it's been a thing for a while. I heard, I might as well circle it back to something goofy, but you told a story a long time ago about trying to help, like you left your weekly Bible study and you were going to help this homeless guy. And you invited him back.
You're so nice. It's such a nice kid.
Can you tell this story? I mean, do you remember this story where you helped?
I know he does.
Yeah.
Dude, it was one of the greatest stories of all time. I have talked about this story.
We will not interrupt you. You please just go.
It's really, there's two stories. There's two times where I tried to bring in a homeless dude. And
how'd that work out?
Both of them didn't end well. And the second one was super eye-opening. And honestly, when I told it last, it didn't get told in its fullness. So I'll do my best. I don't know which one was told, but I'll tell this one. So this guy, he's got a relationship with someone I know at church, and the guy I think is like an elder at the church. And he says, hey, this guy, he needs a place to stay. He's in a hard life situation. He's like in between houses, and this and that has gone wrong. And he was supposed to get this job, but it didn't come through. And now, he's falling on hard times. And
that was a tough time for Wygant, and I appreciate what you did for him.
Wygant.
Go ahead, though. Continue.
So, hey, can he, do you have any, would Michael, does he want to pray about this and see if this is some, well, I had one guy that had just moved in with me, and which I found out like 2 months after he moved in that he was 17, which I was like, I have a minor in my house. It's crazy.
Oh
but I was only like 19 or 20. So it was like already crazy that, I would own a house. And then there's this other guy that I forget the situation, but he was just moving down from somewhere else and is a black dude who's 26 from somewhere in the north, like New York or maybe Connecticut. But and he was like, want to be a pastor. And so he was staying in my house. Well, I only had, my room and two other rooms. So then it's like, well, I don't know about this guy, maybe not. So anyways, one of the dudes said, yeah, we'll take him in. And he's a 40-year-old psychologist, I think, from Canada, and trying to get back on his feet, right? And I'm like, all right. And the other guys were like, good to take him in. They're like, well, who are we to deny you took us in? And so then we're four guys, living in a 3-bedroom house, one's on the couch, and is honestly it was a really fun time. But I told one of the dudes, I said, hey, this guy's only staying for a month, and I can only house you for a month. On this day, you have to be out. And well, it was a great time. It was like so many weird personalities that it almost like bonded us together, just because we all knew that it was like such a strange combination. So we're having a good time. We're hanging, cooking, whatever, and just so many different perspectives, worldviews, different things. So then I'm like racing on the weekends, and I come back, and well, the one dude, I think his name is Jeff, the psychologist, 4-year-old dude. He's still trying to work on his, life situation and get this job and whatnot. And he's only got a certain amount of time. So I said, and he didn't have a car. So I said, hey, Jeff, I'm going to race this weekend, and you can borrow my car.
Heck yeah, man. Good for
and
you.
like you can, I know you don't have a car. You can use my car for the weekend, and then I just need you to pick me up at this time.
Sure, no doubt.
At the airport. So I leave, and I think it was Budds Creek, and I don't know how the weekend went. It went okay, and I get a text from my friends like during the weekend, like, hey, Jeff came home after he dropped you off and he grabbed his bag and we haven't seen him since.
Oh, no.
And I said, all right, okay, well, it is what it is.
You're not thinking that he took your car.
I'm like, I can't worry about this right now. I'm racing.
Yeah, it's race day.
I got
these are not normal interruptions on a race.
Nobody else has this going
on. I'll handle this. Later tonight. So then that night, I call my roommates, and they're like, "Yeah, this is what happened. We haven't seen him. They're thinking, did you tell him he can go stay somewhere else? Did you
give him your car?
Do you know that he has your car? And I was like, yeah, all right, well, I don't know, see if he comes back tonight or something. And then my flight changed, so I needed him to pick me up at a different time. And they weren't able to get a hold of him. They weren't able to call him. They weren't able to nothing.
Jeff.
So I try to get a hold of him, say, hey, I'm going to be in at this time now. Can you pick me up? I can't get a hold of him. So I said, hey, I asked one of my other roommates, hey, can you come pick me up from the airport? So now I have no car, which is actually crazy now thinking of it.
Literally, you have no car.
But they bring me home, and I was like, all right, well, let's give him till, if he doesn't come home tonight, like tomorrow morning, we'll call the cops, like make sure, and they're all in the 17-year-old dude, his name was Kel. And his dad was a cop, and he was like ultra suspicious. And then the black dude, 26-year-old guy, he was a Pentecostal. So
yes.
His name was Kevin. We called him Fire from Heaven Kevin.
Yes, yeah, I love that.
Write that down.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Fire from Heaven,
it was
Kevin.
like high character Kel. He's like a clean cut guy. And then Fire from Heaven, Kevin.
My man.
And then Jeff, the psychologist. And
stole your car.
Just a weird bunch. But so then it's like I get home at, noon or something. And then it's like 5:30. And we're all, thinking about what's happened to him. Did he get in a car crash? Did he steal the car? Where is he? What's going on? So then we get a call from Jeff's phone, and I answer it, and it's the police.
Oh, no.
And they said, hey, we're in Winter Park, which is like 45 minutes away.
Water ski.
And we're at a hotel, and Jeff's here, and he's drunk, and he's made a mess of the room, and he said that you were the person we should call.
Heck yeah.
So either he goes to jail or you got to come pick him up and pay for the damages. And I'm like, man, well, how much of the damages?
Yeah, that's not good.
What's going on? So anyways, a friend of mine, my roommate gives me a ride out there, and now we're just like, whoa, what the heck happened? Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And so we get there, and it's like there's like wine bottles and wine stains and all over the place, and he's like out of it. And he's like, a little bit there, but he is in rough shape. So and then my car's not in the parking lot. So we had to go find the car, and we go look for it, can't find it. Come back, and he said it's like down the road, at this restaurant. We go track it down. It's like a mile down the road at a burger shop. So
it's rare.
So sweet, got the car. It's scotch free, awesome, and I paid the bill. I will say, nice hotel. He's got good taste.
He's got good taste.
He said he met a girl there for a job interview.
Sure.
Oh, of course.
Totally.
For her, it was a job interview for her.
Like, exactly. I'm like,
what?
That is just the worst story I've ever heard. And he's just like beside himself that I came and that I picked him up, and obviously super remorseful and stuff, and just disappointed because all of Ben is nice to him and gave him a place to stay, and then does this. And anyways, and I did it because of obviously like my faith and how much I've been forgiven, and it's like such an opportunity to show God's love, because I do not deserve like His grace, mercy, love, kindness, salvation, any of that, and He's literally paid my debt, and so I got to do the same for Jeff as
because he's expecting you to totally hammer him, right? Like he's expecting you to really let him have it.
So, and I pick him up. He lays down in the back seat of the car, and we drive home.
Hey, Michael Mosiman, you're going to need some gas, by the way.
Yes, you ran your gas out.
And but we didn't drive home because I said, hey, I'm going to drop you off at this gas station in town. Like, Kel is 17 years old. I can't have you staying there. And like, obviously you've proven not to be most trustworthy.
Yeah, super trustworthy. Yeah.
And anyways, and so he's like, oh no, like, please, like, no, like, just let me, let me stay, like, or just give me a hotel. Da, da, da. And I said, all right, I'll get you a hotel for one night, but that's it. And so I get him, cheapest hotel I can find, and put him up for one night so he can get his senses about him. And then, then he's, and mind you, this is like 2 days, or it was like a day, the next day or something. He's like, he was time for him to leave anyways. So then the next day I, go ride or something, and then come back, and then go to the gym and come back, and I see him on like walking from the house.
Okay.
Which, mistake number one, did not take his house key.
Oh no.
Not that I locked my house anyways, but
yeah, but still, let's at least reduce the chances, right?
Yeah, it's like that was not the greatest idea. So he went back there and did laundry when no one was home. And it was not good. So then that evening, like, he comes back to the house, and I think he's like trying to finagle a way to like stay there. And I'm like kind of okay with it. And Fire from Heaven Kevin's kind of okay with it for the night. And Kel is like, no, dude, I don't feel comfortable with this. Da, 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 da. And so we're like, I don't know, talking to him and da, da, da. And then I go, is there like no one else, like no one we can call, like that you can stay with? And here's where all the clarity starts coming down.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, well, I don't know. No, there's no one. Well, maybe there's one person. So I said, well, call him. It's like 10:30 at night, and I'm going to Croom to ride the next day. I got 30-minute motos.
Rough,
and one
gnarly
round left
Croom.
of the series.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm like, and it's like so late, and we're still dealing with this. So I'm like, well, call him. And the guy says, all right, yeah, you can come over. I don't even know if he promised he could stay, but he probably still stay, whatever.
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, all right, yeah, sounds good. Let's take him there. And I asked him, I was like, hey, so do you have any like family member? You told me you have a sister, right? Like, she wouldn't help you or take you in or anything? Oh, no, blah, blah, blah. She would never, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, but like you spoke well of her. Like, would you say like she's a good person? Like, oh yeah, she's a fine person. She's good. It's just, and I'm like, okay, so then what's going on here? I'm getting more suspicious, and I'm just asking more and more questions, and then we get to this person's place, and it's a trailer park in Claremont.
Okay.
And
solid.
He says, hey, let me handle this. I don't want I don't want you to let me just talk to him. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna talk to him. So then, oh yeah, here it comes. It gets crazy.
You're reliving it.
We sit outside of this porch of this trailer, and then it's like I come to figure it out. every day Jeff has been leaving for like a few hours, and he says, "Oh, I just need to go on a walk, clear my head, get some space, whatever." And sometimes someone would come and pick him up, and it was just I never really it was a friend from Bible study.
Yeah.
So then I learned that this guy that we're meeting with is his AA partner.
Okay.
Like the person, and that he's an alcoholic, obviously.
So they would go drink.
But has known problems. No, this is like the guy that's like supposed to hold him accountable. Like
sponsor.
This is like the guy.
Oh, okay, the sponsor. Yeah.
Sponsor. Sorry, not a partner. And so then everything's coming clear to me, and I'm realizing that he has just told like everything but the stuff that's important the whole time. And then it comes across that this guy we're sitting with, is the one who called the cops for Jeff, because Jeff called him and he sounded suicidal. So then it's like coming full circle, like how it, got to me. And it was just it was just mind blowing for me at the time, which you guys saw this a mile away. But me, I was 19, 18, 19, no, 2019.
Wow. So you were
and I was
super
naive,
young.
and I was like, oh yeah, this is totally good. But now I'm like, that was totally enabling. I should have seen that a mile away. Like, I should have asked way more questions. But at the time, I was just like, come on in, everyone's welcome. Like, I don't care who you are, what you are. And big lessons learned there. Ask more questions.
But when you're young, though, in your defense, when you're young, you think that everything's like 40, he's grown, and you don't think that grown people can be stupid.
Or that they have major problems.
Yeah, you don't understand the major problems that...
But hey, Michael, I mean, in all honesty, like,
I applaud
you die and you walk up to the gates and Jesus is judging your actions, dude. I mean, you had a lot of nonsense to deal with, but that's what helping another human being.
Said, man,
you
it was
you
close.
did it with great intention.
It was close for you, but Jeff, the psychologist, put in a good word.
Brother BoJangles says, let this man in, dog.
Let him in. But hey, man, and you think about that, like, I mean, Jesus obviously dealt with way more nonsense than that, probably, because he kept these 12 dudes.
Heard all the lies, knew they were lying to him.
Yeah, and you didn't know the guy was lying to you or whatever, like Jesus.
You were young, man.
So I still applaud it, man. I mean, the world needs more of that. And it's
dude, I've made those mistakes
but
in my 40s.
But it's also a funny story.
Like,
it's a great story.
I've made that. Like, I had a friend that came over for the weekend. I felt bad because it was like taking his daughter to... He's like, yeah, I guess, me and my wife split up. I'm going to get a hotel here just so we can hang out by the pool. And I was like, well, you don't have to do that deal at a hotel. Just come stay at my house.
You just come and move in with me.
Just come stay with me. You can bring her over
one day for 8 months.
Yeah, for the weekend. And then he was there for 8 months.
Oh, was it 8 months?
Yeah.
I just guessed that.
Yeah. He never left. Like, he's like, man, I really appreciate that. We'll be gone Monday, 8 months later.
Yes, exactly. But hey, man, I fully do appreciate, like, it's rare. I think the industry that you are in, the sport that you are in, is absolutely cutthroat, and it's the hardest thing that there is on the planet. And for you to be like trying to do good and go above and beyond, it's just not common. I mean, motocross.
No, it's rare. It catches people's eyes. Like, my wife was like, I like Shane McElrath, I like Trey Canard. Like, they say it on the podium. They have no problem, whatever.
But it's a cutthroat world, and it's rewarded. Like, it has to be self-centered. I mean, you are solely focused on yourself as far as your job is concerned. You've got to be. It's the only way for you to advance, right? So the fact that you can pause that, look outward, have a small group at your house, even though we know you're just doing it for the leftovers.
Delicious.
I'm kidding.
Of course.
I'm totally kidding.
Skim loops.
But I appreciate it, man. I think it's awesome when somebody is going against the grain, obviously the grain of the world, but the grain of the industry of the sport. It's just
it's the grain of the world too, man.
It's the grain of the world too.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that probably the least Christian thing that you're doing now is, I know that you're cerebral enough that you're probably keeping a pad with what everybody brings to your meeting.
Like a notepad?
Yep. And then you score each one of them. And then you got to decide.
Now, that's not a bad idea.
Then you and your wife have to decide, well,
Next small group meeting.
Listen, you go. Well, you invite them.
Got to have a score of 8
You invite
or
them,
higher.
but you give them a warning.
No, but like
Hey,
at
listen.
the end of the year when you have the small group
Series
draft,
points awards.
no, dude, when you got
Small
the new
group
draft for
draft, yeah.
2026,
The draft.
And when
the
they
Michael
they get
Mosiman
upset, you can
small
say,
group.
"Listen, I've got the data to back up this decision."
for sure.
It's
Like
a
you
small group
scored in the
draft.
bottom. You scored
Yeah, I
in the
got
bottom.
the analytics.
You were in the bottom 10%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's not my fault. You're the one that underperformed.
You're the one that
dude.
brought the runny meatloaf. Don't bring,
Runny meatloaf.
don't put
dude.
that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
The
That's a
eye
deal
test
breaker.
is no longer a deal.
That's a deal breaker, son. Runny meatloaf.
Dude.
That causes issues. I
Yeah.
just see a
Hey,
track stop. or
nobody
something.
told you to bring blueberry meatloaf.
No.
Nobody.
I mean, the Lord can forgive a lot, but that's a stretch.
But
Runny
not
meatloaf.
blueberry meatloaf.
Hey,
Yeah.
runny meatloaf will send you straight to hell, buddy.
It'll also send you straight to the bathroom.
Hey, it clearly says that in BoJangles 9:12
Correct.
that you're going.
Sorry, Michael. We try to sometimes put it on the rails, and most of the time we fail.
Hey, going back to
No,
being cerebral
Brother
for
Bo's got some real scripture.
Brother Bo J. Hey,
Hey.
so what about your brother? Tell me about your brother and
Josh Mosiman.
Yeah, Josh is like he should be the spokesperson for the whole deal. He's got the orange helmet. He's the guy.
That guy is he's a machine. That guy never quits. I mean, he's just always working on something, new project here, traveling there. I tell you what, every year Amber and I, my wife, we are constantly surprised, and this year maybe more than all. Every year he races a few nationals, and after the nationals, he's like, "Man, I'm not racing next year. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I'm not cut out for this. I'm not fit enough. I need to, train more,
Painful.
but I can't." And da da da. And then every year he re-ups and says, "Oh yeah, I'm so excited. This year's gonna be different." And it's
No changes,
so,
but it's
I don't
going to be
know.
different.
We'll see. Yeah, last year he ended up with a broken collarbone surgery, so we can hope this year will be better. So
he's an MXA test
I think
rider and things like that.
yeah, test rider and writes articles and does the videos, and yeah, it's he kicks butt. I think he's maybe more famous than I am, probably,
Yeah.
and more relevant in the industry. So
Well, in different circles. I mean, there's probably.
I feel like I got to hang out with you. Was it you and Pierce Brown and Matt and Max Miller at Mammoth? Did we spend like a couple of days? Like did we? I don't know if I putted with you guys or did we do mountain bikes together? Because dude, you guys are gnarly. I know
Kevin
I rode.
Kelly riding mountain bikes.
I rode with Pierce and Max, and those dudes were gone.
That's what
I don't
I'm
know
wondering.
if you. I don't know.
Oh,
if,
yeah.
I don't know if you went with us or not, but those dudes
you
are
know
burly.
what? When a couple years ago, it was like, oh, am I going to keep going? Am I going to not? One of the thought patterns was, what if I went pro downhill mountain bike?
Okay.
I thought about it seriously, and a friend of mine's got a lot of connections. He's like, oh, I got a whole pathway. You go, enduro for a bit, and then transition, and yeah.
So when you run off the track in
that would be
motocross,
But do you think they're burly? Because they go, man, you guys are burly. But
dude,
I look at
they're
those
faced
dudes.
with boulders,
Rampage
trees,
is
cliffs.
the burliest thing I can imagine.
But when they run off the course,
Yeah.
you can run off the track in motocross, and there might be a sprinkler head or a hay bale or something. But when you run off the track in downhill mountain biking,
the tree,
there's a
it's
tree,
400-foot
there's
cliff.
boulders, there's a cliff.
Yeah.
That's gnarly, man.
Like what is your take on all that? How burly that is?
It's so gnarly. And the thing is, like, imagine if, I mean, I don't know, it nearly is, but it's like practice and qualifying your sprint lap. If that's like for, big money, like that's the thing.
Yes.
How hard would you send it? And, how fast would you go? And so it's like, they have one shot going down that hill and they're laying it like all on the line. Like there's no, oh, I'm going to, ease up in this section. Like, I think that's what's gnarly is like for us, we're at, the limit, but they, I don't know. It's like, you always have a little bit more. And I feel like for downhill, like you're doing that a little bit more on your race run.
Well, I would say you are used to a much higher mostly higher rate of speed, I totally could see you being successful in downhill mountain biking. You're used to pushing the limits of your skill, the limits of your machine, the limits of the course.
But they can go, hey, well, I messed up, so I got 3 more laps. I can kind of gather this all together. They got one lap. It's qualifying, like what he said, like during daytime qualifying, I got to put my best thing down.
But somebody like this, like Michael Mosiman, who's world-class speed and can gather that.
Well, his cerebral might not be cerebral after a few little trips down to terra firma.
Dude, I'm just saying, I feel like it would translate, Michael. I'm not saying you'd just roll in there and start winning. No. But at the same time, somebody like you, I feel like, you know this, Kevin, these people with world-class speed, when they have it, like you might be 50 years old one day and jump on a motorcycle and wax everybody at a local race just because
just like Nick does.
There's people that reach a certain level and you have all the processes in place. They would translate. They would translate to downhill mountain. I don't want to see you leave Moto and Supercross, but they would translate.
Not till you're 43.
Yes, when you race until you're 43, and then
Sean
we'll talk.
Palmer, that thing.
You come and ask us permission.
Cairolli.
Yes, Cairolli, go Sean Palmer on us and just do your snowboard.
But I think that translates. I think Michael, he studies the formula, applies the technique.
I'm saying there's a chance.
He warehouses guys named Jeff who steals his car.
In, first out on his inventory.
Absolutely.
He has his personal in-house psychologist named Jeff.
Dude, epic story. I hated to make you relive it because it's got to be
love that story, dude.
It's got to be a little unsettling that you had good intentions and it bit you.
But dude, he was 19. I got a 24. My son will be 25 this year. I can't imagine Casey going,
he don't live at
Dad,
your house.
I got 4 guys living with me, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, like, how would he have...
That wouldn't throw me off until he said one of them was 40.
I know,
but
40
would have thrown me. I would have been like...
Yeah, that was wild.
What did Mr. Mosiman say? Like, Michael, what are you doing? Helen Mosiman was like, what are you doing, Michael?
Is that really her name?
Yeah, this is mom.
Nice.
You know what? I get it partially from my parents. They're so open door. I mean, I think my dad met someone at his local coffee shop, and then he was like, hey, well, if you're going to be in Florida, go stay at our beach house. I was like,
hey, dude,
what?
I can tell you this, as a child growing up, if someone was broke down on the road, my dad stopped every single time. And, you know, a lot of people are broke down on the side of the road because of their choices. And so you are, just like you did with your psychologist, you end up dealing with the way they live their life. Yeah, so we've picked up drunk ladies. We've picked up dudes who spend all their money on alcohol instead of saying, hey, man, those tires sure do have a lot of steel showing.
You got to be careful because picking up drunk ladies is not necessarily the most Christian thing always.
No, but he would pick them up.
There's Nick with a different agenda.
It's a different. I
do have one recent success story.
Well, give me a good one.
Story. Okay.
Why you should do this?
Let's hear it, Michael.
There was a recent success story. There was a guy, Amber and I just got married, and we moved to California, and my parents had a house there in Southern California, but they weren't using, so we were staying there, and there was a guy renting in the back, Nathan Alexander, great mechanic, and he's like, he's pretty to himself, and it was like back of the house. It was like, oh, no big deal. It's kind of a different wing, and so Amber and I were living there, and then I was going to this young adults group out there trying to make friends, and I really enjoy having like a motocross life, and then to be able to step out of it and be like,
sure, I agree.
No one cares. So I was trying to make friends, and there's this one guy. He was super, super confrontational, like the most confrontational person I've ever met. Just like was ready to fight anyone at any moment. And I remember it was like there was a Bible study, and he just like took over the Bible study and then was like, oh, what sin are you doing? And the guy's like, oh, you know, sometimes I lie. He's like, yeah, right. You're doing way worse stuff. That's ridiculous.
Hey, but he's honest. Like, he's not lying.
He's like, next person. And then it's like, see, like, he's like, me? I'm going to go get drunk tonight and hang out with this girl. And I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to do it. And it was just like, it was just crazy, brutal honesty.
Super honest.
And
fornication.
And he was calling everyone else out for not being
they weren't
honest.
being as honest as he was. Yes.
It was so wild. So anyways, but he wasn't all the other Christians, like, I ended up like refuting one of his points or whatever using the scriptures, and then after the Bible study ended,
from
all
BoJangles,
of the other guys
was it a
like
scripture from
rallied around
BoJangles?
me. No, not so much.
No, not so
And
much.
they all rallied around me like I like did something, and like they kind of ostracized this guy. And I was like, man, this guy just needs like a friend. Like he just needs a friend that doesn't do drugs and party, and he would probably like
Crush it.
Tread the state straight and narrow. So anyways, he ends up in I befriend him, and he ends up in a situation there. He's getting kicked out of one home and doesn't know where he's going to go, and needs to save up money, and he's got this and this and this. And so I said, well, hey, I can talk to my parents to see if you can stay, at our place for a little bit in between. And so then, I get more information because I asked questions this time.
Yes.
And
Good man.
he had been doing like he was like a star running back for Montana State or college, and was like crushing it. Had this monster first game, and then he got in a fight and got a DUI and went to jail, and then like just set on this like really rough path, and drinking, and then he was doing like heroin or meth or something crazy like that.
That's heavy.
I think meth. Yeah, probably meth. So anyways, maybe heroin. I think it was heroin.
Gnarly.
And
It's a wash
Either way, gnarly.
yeah, I was like, he'd been doing that heroin for like 2 years. And I was like, yo, I didn't know you could live that long if you did heroin for 2 years.
Good point. Yeah, I've been doing it for
like,
12
that's
years, man.
crazy.
Like nobody's
I'm
done
a
it.
veteran.
Nobody is. Nobody has ever done it for 14 years that I know of.
Yes.
They get the
They don't
fentanyl
have a
heroin.
vet class
Heroin
in
is
heroin.
done. Plus 40 heroin guy.
Yes.
There's no plus 50 heroin class.
Oh, no Barry Higgins doing heroin.
Yo. So I'm just like blown away, and he's like 2 weeks clean, and I'm like, Amber, what do you think? Like my new wife, married for like a month, just moved across country, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this guy coming to stay with us? He's got this big, massive dog too, and it's just like
Just a cane
it's just
corso.
it was a Connie Corso, exactly.
What?
Dude.
The biggest
What the crud?
freaking mammal.
It's like an elephant.
It's just
Most
a monster
eat you dog alive.
It's just
Keep going, dude.
drooling all over the place. And
Him or the dog?
No, the
anyways,
dog.
Okay.
He came to stay with us, and like for I don't know a month and a half, and then he moved on. And I'm not even sure he was clean the whole time he was there. But then I just got word. I was at Arlington, and it was like Friday before, and he called me or texted me or something. And he's a year clean from heroin,
Oh,
and
wow.
like walking
Dude.
straight and narrow. And he's like
Right
trying
on.
to start a YouTube, this and that. So just like I was like blown away because
Well, that is a
I-
success story then. I didn't know where you were
I
headed
didn't know
with
where
this.
it was gonna go.
That's
I
a
didn't know where it
success
was gonna
story.
go, but
On so many levels, because I've said this before, and we're like I said, we're old. So I was a teenager in the '80s, and there were a lot of like you hear like I've known people from the '80s that did a little cocaine, they smoked weed, they did all this stuff, and everything. Like, oh yeah, I used to do a little
I mean,
bit of
there's
that back
people
then.
in that room.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
No, not here.
Not in this room.
Not here.
This is the one room where we
Okay.
haven't tried.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
you're
lot.
good.
We don't do that. Kind of.
We're nerds.
I've witnessed a lot
I've seen
of
it.
Yeah, we've seen it, but we were never.
We're
we never
nerds.
took it. Yeah, we are nerds.
I think that was
gotcha.
that attributed to my like dirt bikes and stuff. Like I thought I was crazy already. I didn't need any. I was afraid to do
Drugs,
any
right.
drugs because I thought I was already on the edge, and I didn't want anything to push me over the edge. Right.
Well, and heck, man, you're racing. You don't really want to put that stuff in your body. I know that's
Yeah.
what kept me clean,
Yeah.
Michael. I never tried out. Well, go ahead.
and
You-
Nancy Reagan don't say
and Nancy
just,
Reagan
just
said-
say no.
Just say no.
Sure.
You know.
Hey,
so, but
I
Good Lord.
never would drink.
but you never hear like this is the first story I've ever heard where people go, yeah, I did heroin and everything turned out okay. Because
This
it's
is
never
the
like
first story. It's the only story.
like heroin never turns out okay.
No, but like in
Yeah.
this guy's defense, like fentanyl and fentanyl laced heroin has changed the game.
Oh, that's what ruined it. It's what ruined the heroin.
Yeah, a good clean heroin. You can't do heroin like you could do in the 90s and just do it for years.
No, but for real.
But also,
but then at the time we were blown away because it was like, wow, okay, this guy. And then I would start asking people like, hey, do you know anyone that's done this? And then we started thinking about it, and there's like a lot of people that we knew or knew of, and just people even like that had done hard drugs and like or tried it once or whatever. And it was just mind blowing how many people, not so far from us that had tried stuff.
Well, and think about you. You're like a top athlete, and that probably held you to a line because you needed to perform when these clowns were at parties and stuff like that. You needed to be getting the best out of your body, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, cocaine's the most I would do.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny that we laugh because we know better. We know better.
What a dork. No, you wouldn't.
Hey, let me tell you, though, part of that, like that dude being a D1 athlete, like a D1 running back, means he was he was an athletic freak at some point in his life. Like he was a great athlete to get to that point.
That's who it was that that did the heroin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The football player? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this is my Bill Nye non-science guy
there we go.
on theory,
Summary.
but that might be why he survived 2 years of heroin.
Because his body was his starting point.
Yeah, because he was such a strong physical.
I mean, and he got lucky. He didn't run across some crap that got him killed.
Yeah.
But
that's what'll get you killed. Heroin will.
And I think the reason why he came out of it is because he was so extremely honest. It was brutally, weirdly honest.
Wow.
That is
heavy.
The most brutally honest, like, prayer group thing where everybody's like, well,
Dude,
a little bit about this, a little bit of that. What about
you're
you?
Not. You know what you're going to do.
Hey, what's your sin? Well, as of now, nothing. But in about 4 hours,
I'm gonna have sex and I'll be drunk.
And get laid.
Seriously, I can appreciate that.
That's basically what happened.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, we're gonna wrap this up. Anything else you want to say?
I could just keep him going forever, man. I do honestly, Michael. I respect you. Number one, for your motocross ability, you've got world class speed. I feel like you can go as fast as anybody when you are able to put it all together.
And I like that you're not a monkey. Like, oh man, I just go hard. I train hard.
Reasons.
No, you got a purpose.
He's
like
got technical expertise.
Correct.
I mean, all the things about
and
you
your faith. I'm a big fan of that. Like when I see a guy that openly proclaims it, I dig that. Like
well, from this point forward, I'm the biggest fan of your chicken wing recipe. So
you got that.
Yeah,
too.
just think about how you're
try it though.
And
apple cider vinegar.
And I want a spreadsheet with when you score all these people that bring their potluck stuff, their covered dishes.
Next year, 2026 is going to be hard.
Dude,
there's going to be some real truths.
You can have like small group fantasy. Like you could have you could be like, who's going to make an egg?
I say you get a spreadsheet.
In the first round, we picked LaToya. Her hash brown casserole crushed 10% of the time.
You email it to us. We'll help you go over the data and see who gets to come back next year.
Yeah, you do need
somebody's got to go, dude.
You guys got like a word or something you want me to try to slip in an interview?
Kevin. Oh man, that's heavy right there.
Deoxyribonucleic acid, which is short for DNA.
Okay.
Now, I think if you could ever put Bill Nye.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Come on, Michael.
You can do that. You can do that.
As Bill Nye quoted.
Yes, if you could get Bill Nye into
this weekend.
Bill Nye.
Well, you know what? Guess what? We are in the press conferences. We do the
why don't we tee you up?
We will tee you up.
Okay.
Should you get on the podium, we will tee you up with a Bill Nye the Science Guy.
That's the only way we can do this.
It'll be that
easy.
On
the podium. So
how about that?
We need that from you.
Yes.
Well, yeah. All right. I'll see if I can get it. Get it earlier than that. But
and then we'll come right to you.
I just think it'd be funny.
Yes.
But if you want to just go next level, deoxyribonucleic acid or
deoxyribonucleic acid, okay.
Otherwise known as DNA.
Yeah. But on the same token, Michael Mosiman, we think that how like motocross is so like if one fast guy does something, then everybody does it. You know what I mean? Like
we got to try it
from the '90s, leaving the tag on your goggles, which I do for a joke now sometimes, and then
that's amazing.
So if you could just come up with something crazy outlandish that you
dude, Hayden's already done the chest pro out.
Like. Yeah, but that's coming back from something. If you just had
from
something
Hayden
weird,
Deegan,
like if you just started wearing 2 different gloves or something, like saying what like something student like
it would, two different boots
it would
to match,
catch on so fast in the motocross community. Yes, like
your left boot, left glove.
Yep,
right boot.
I got to get winning first.
All right.
Hey man, we know you can.
All right. Well, you've got something to do. So get to studying, get to work.
Yeah, it's called sleep.
Excellent.
Yeah, we'll let you go, buddy.
Get your rest.
Thanks for being on, man. This has been a year in the making.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on, and hope we can get some deoxyribonucleic on the
deoxyribonucleic acid. Go see brother BoJangles Mosiman this weekend at your nearest Supercross, folks.
Yeah, right on. Hey, good luck. Good luck.
Best of luck, buddy. Take care. Be safe.
Thanks, guys.
Love you.
Oh man, that was rough.
There's nobody. I say this every time we get off the line with a pro rider. Nobody cooler. He's freaking cool,
good,
man.
He's good,
dude. When you quoted BoJangles 913 or whatever,
that was funny. You're a funny guy.
I would say that's a frameable quote.
Yep.
I would easily put that on some stained tea cloth,
brother BoJangles,
with a rough cut frame, and I'd be like, BoJangles 913 says,
just like you said in
apply.
BoJangles 913.
What was BoJangles 913? It was something about.
That's pretty funny.
About his chicken and the skin.
I forgot all about that.
I didn't even know you did this. Nick rolling through the pits at Day in the Dirt with a fireball flag on slow motion.
I got a fireball cape on.
Next to you're wearing a fireball
That's what provides
cape.
you with all your.
Next to a 1989 CR250.
Dude, Michael Mosiman's one of the good ones.
He's a great guy.
He's a good kid.
Yeah. And hey, man,
regardless
who can fault him for every bit of his intentions were super
solid,
honorable.
super
it's just
good.
Amazing he never got killed.
Damn it, Jeff. Come on, Jeff.
Jeff was stressed out at the office, son.
Jeff, the psychologist. Come on, man. We'll trade out rent for some psychotherapy.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking. I'm 19. You took advantage of me, dog.
What's so funny is like 2 weeks ago, I told that story to Amanda. Because it's one of the greatest.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Dude, just like, yeah, man, you need a place to live. I got 17
I'm 19.
people
I got
living
15
here.
guys here.
What's one more couch? You know what
I
I'm
just
saying?
imagine his mom goes, so what's going on, Michael? I don't know, man. There's 17 people here.
I got a 40-year-old dude living with me.
We got potluck dinner tonight.
Yes. I do like the scoring of the Bible study participants.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you brought running meatloaf. I mean, you really think you're just going to keep going?
Your green bean casserole is trash.
Yeah.
Get it out of here.
No slackers
Napkins,
here, buddy.
Diet Coke,
Could you
you're
imagine
done.
Kicking Dolores
Plastic
out?
forks guy, you're
like,
done.
Dolores, your green bean casserole sucks.
Your Publix
You
pecan
put
pie
raisins in your potato salad and you expect to stay here?
Get out of here.
You goddamn butternut squash casserole is absurd. Preacher's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. I can't.
We all know about it.
I can't be associating with people like this.
Just like it says in BoJangles 913. He who puts raisins in your potato salad will burn in hell.
Potato. You put that in your potato salad. Your potato salad.
Your potato salad.
Who puts raisins in there? And then they had a blueberry meatloaf.
Get out of
That's
here.
a sin. You'll burn in hell with the blueberry meatloaf. Nick's like, man, I mean, I don't know. It might be all right. We kind of need to try it before we just judge it like that.
God dang, that's funny.
A blueberry meatloaf, dude. I mean, you think about the juices. If you had a runny meatloaf and the stuff that might escape your anus. Dude.
Hey.
Hey, Michael Mosiman's next level, regardless.
Yeah, he's good.
And anybody that can grab world-class speed after being off for a minute.
And just
And
find
he's
it.
had multiple times he wanted to quit.
Find it, dude.
He's like, hey, man, I didn't know if I was going to keep racing. And he just circles back,
Nah,
lands on
I'll
a
do it.
top-level team.
Yeah, whatever. I'm on the podium again.
And rolls to the podium.
Good man.
What the world, man? How come we
Go
could-
root that guy on. Get his autograph. Cheer him on.
Yeah, get out of Hayden's line and come over there and see Michael Mosiman.
Go see Hayden after Michael.
Exactly.
All right, buddy. That's it. Michael, thanks for being on. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, John. Thanks, Jake Fricker. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Hot or Not, MySpace,
Farmers
Rate
Only.
My Poo,
Rate
Farmers
My
Only,
Feet, or
Rate
something
My
about-
Feet, Buck Teeth or Not.
Day in the Dirt. There will be a YouTube video coming soon. Jake has all the raw elements.
Follow us, Instagram.
Yes.
Buy our shirts, even though they're not for sale.
You want to see a fat guy on a motorcycle at Day in the Dirt? Check it out.